before we all get rolling, how many agents today are here that are under a year in business? This is like the first year. Maybe about half. About say from 3 years and under. 3 years and under, a couple more. Any like 3 years and over? Been in business for a while. Just need a couple of refreshers. Maybe get one tip. Right? I know. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Awesome. So and that's the thing with the training sessions, the workshops. If you can grab 1 or 2 good little nuggets that you actually use, times are well spent. If you get there and you hear 4 or 5 good things and you never use any of it, what are you really doing at training? So you guys are your own business women, businessmen. It's your own business. So you guys have to take charge. I think you probably heard this. You've probably been taught this, that it's up to you guys. We want to see you successful because as you're successful, the brokerage is successful, right? So it goes hand in hand. Obviously, the training we put on hopefully builds your confidence, and then you can build on that confidence. So for those of you, I think most of you probably haven't met me or know me. My name's Rick Peckman. I'm the manager at Ajax location with the new partnership or sisterhood with your community. I'm a sales manager. Don't really manage the whole office. I concentrate on sales. So I'm trying to help the agents be more successful, trying to be there for them when they need emergency help at 10 o'clock at night, weekends, going on a listing presentation tomorrow with one of our new agents. So actively trying to help them get their foot in the door to get building their confidence. And a lot of times you guys will do with colleagues, where colleagues will help you out. So lean on your colleagues as well. So again, the title, so you think you're getting a listing. It's kind of appropriate. A lot of us get into this business. We don't even know what the business is all about. We get in it for a few months and you say, oh man, this is kind of tougher than I thought it was going to be, right? Because there's a lot of competition out there. There's only so many listings, so many buy-ins, and there's 50,000 agents. Why are they going to choose me? So why would they choose you? So again, that's stuff that you guys have to kind of have a short answer for, a little elevator speech. Why would they choose you? Why would they go with you? What's your mission statement, right? So again, when people are talking to me and they ask why would they choose me, I just say, I'm your trusted realtor, old-fashioned service, and hard work. So you have to have because sometimes you only get like 10, 15 seconds to say something. You have to come up with something yourself that you believe in, and your body language, kind of also, talks about it. So we're going to start from the beginning. So you think you're getting a listing, and this is going to be very practical. You get a phone call after we leave here today. You get a phone call from a friend, and the friend says, "Oh, hey Michelle, I've got my neighbor thinking of selling their home. I've passed on your name, and I think she's going to give you a call." So, what do you do with that lead? Obviously, you thank your friend for giving you the lead, and so I look forward to hearing from her, and I'll do my best to meet with her and do a great job because it's a reflection on you. So obviously, if you don't get the call in a couple of days, you're going to prod your friend a little bit and say, I never did hear from your neighbor. Do you think you could pass on her contact or her address? Maybe I'll stop by and say hello. Right? So you're getting a lead, but you don't really know what that lead is all about. Even though a friend passed on that lead to you, is that person going to sell right away? They're going to sell in a month? Are they just getting an evaluation because maybe they're going through a divorce? Are they going to sell in 2 years, but they're just curious about the price? So if you can, you try to qualify that lead a little better because your time's valuable. You want to know what you're getting into. You want to know what you want to prepare. For those who just came a little bit late, I've handed out 3 binders around the room, which is my listing binder. It's not just my listing binder, it's actually my everyday binder. I don't care what the lead is. I don't care if it's an evaluation. I don't care if it's a CMA, a divorce case, a lead, potential lead. To me, that's a marketing piece. That's a marketing piece. It just happens to have a section where I can put some information on its valuation. So how many opportunities do we get to somebody's door, to get in their house? So if you think about it personally, those agents that have just started, you know what, you don't get a lot in your first few years. It takes a bit of time. So the ones that you get, you want to make sure you're putting your best foot forward, right? So you hate to go afterwards and say, oh, I wish I would have done this better. I should have spent more time on that. So time is very valuable. When you get an opportunity, it's best to put your best foot forward. A lot of times you don't know what you're getting into, meaning you don't know if they're serious, but treat everything as serious because you may not get a second opportunity. So again, cost-wise, people think, well, you know what, seems like a lot of money to put in if you're going into something and you're not sure what you're getting. Yeah, I'm not saying that you're going to get $20,000 or $30,000 every time you go to an appointment to get a listing. That person might be a source of referrals for you for 2 or 3 years, even while they're waiting to sell their home. So if you look at it like that you've got an opportunity to go to somebody's home, spend an hour or two with them in their home, market yourself about what you're all about, you can offer people, start to build some rapport with them, the relationship building. And if it doesn't turn into an actual listing, if you get there and it's like, she's maybe not ready for 3 or 4 years, well, now you have somebody to add to your database that you can actually connect with on an ongoing basis to ask for referrals. Because you spending your time there and being very genuine, helpful, leaving information behind is some value. And the person on the other end sometimes has a reciprocal feeling that they kind of owe you a little bit. So they may not say that out loud, but that's the feeling that they've got. And if you ask for something, you'll usually get something out of them. So maybe, you know, a week or 2 weeks later, you know, it's just a follow-up to the meeting that you had and said, you know, I appreciate the time that we met together. Hope the information I left behind was very helpful. And if you are looking at going ahead, whether it's next year or the year after, I'm glad to meet again to give you an up-to-date evaluation. And oh, by the way, you know what, if you're talking to some of your neighbors and they're thinking of maybe selling in the next little while, it would be great if you could give them one of the cards I've left behind. So in my binders on the back, there's usually 20 business cards. There's usually a contract in there for them to get me referrals. So if you called me tonight, your first name is?
Rebecca.
Rebecca, you called me right now. After I've left, I got a little thing that you'd like to see me tonight at 7 because you're thinking of putting your home up for sale. I'd say, hey, you know what, great, that's awesome. If we could make 7:30, that works for me. If your husband is home, I'm just assuming you have one, but if your husband is home, that'd be great if we could all meet together. Okay, and if you agree to that, I'm already starting to think, okay, it's a little more serious. I'm on my way home driving, I'm thinking about this, that I've got to prepare something and then head back. Okay, so even though I'm busy, take a binder, put it on my table. I've only got half an hour's work to do before I go to your house. And I've got something really professional with me, right? So I usually at the beginning of the year, I make 10 of these binders. They're empty. They've just got my base 25 to 50 pages in there, ready to go. So that if I get a phone call or an email, I can just take one, put on my desk, and I'm kind of looking at it. Then I go into Treb. So everyone's been on Treb and has worked on Treb on the MLS system. So the first thing I do is I would go to links, public records, and I would put their address in. And I'd open up public records. First thing, I don't go to MLS and start snooping their street. So always start with, try to take a little unbiased and just a cautious approach about learning a little bit more about where you're going. And while you're doing the snooping, you have a chance to print off some copies of things that you can add to your binder. Right? So I put in their address, and it pops up on the public records. I go to the little house on the top, the little circle with the house, and I look at what year the house was built. Because that's giving me a signal already. It's built in 1958. It's built in 1974. So if it's 1974, what kind of signal would that give to somebody? What are you thinking a little bit? Any ideas? 74, 75, 76.
Aluminum
You're
wiring.
thinking, maybe it's got aluminum wiring, maybe. So that's just a question that you're thinking to yourself. So maybe you make a little note of it so that when you go there tonight, maybe you ask, or if you're down snooping on the circuit breaker or looking at the wires, right, you might want to check that out because that could be an implication of the value when you're selling with an ESA certificate. So these little catch points, sometimes when you're going through a system, when you have a little system, it's reminding you of things not to forget. So I'm on public records, I'm looking at the last sale. Very quickly, I can find out when they purchased it. I can look at the assessment quickly. Then I go to the enhanced tab. I looked at how many bedrooms they have. I look at the zoning. Because again, if I see that they've got an 80-foot wide lot by 200 feet, I'm thinking, I wonder if this could be severed. I'm not sure. So I look at the zoning to see if it's multi-use or it's commercial. And if I have time, I would phone the planning department before I went to the appointment. This is obviously going to be tight for us to meet tonight. So by the time I'm driving home, get on the computer, get on the public records, get on the Geo Warehouse, get onto a map search, print everything, have dinner, and then coming back to your house. So time gets tight, but when I get to your house, I'm going to feel relaxed. And I've got good material I'm going to leave behind. I don't even know what we're getting into in terms of our appointment, right? So being prepared takes a lot of pressure off yourself, because you know if you get that call, you get a little jittery. Ooh, we got a listing appointment, not sure what's going on. I gotta go there. You start getting jittery about getting stuff together, and you're looking at all your files and what you've compiled, and maybe you're going to get a little do-a-tang thing or a presentation folder, and you're going to start stuffing a few things in, right? And maybe you're going to do a CMA on TREB like everybody else does. So I'd never do a CMA. I've never done one in my life. The reason why, if we're competing with a right-at-home person or a home life that hasn't got formal training or has access to graphic artists or spending a little bit of money, they're going to be trained on that TREB CMA. So when they leave something behind, they're going to leave something like that. And if you leave something behind that looks kind of the same, what are they comparing afterwards, like 2 days later when they're talking about which agent to go with, what have they left behind? So if you get a chance, if you can try to modify that, it's got a good use. If you're going to your friend's house and they just want some updated information and you know it's a sure deal, then I don't mind using that TREB, CMA. But, I like to keep things a little bit different. So when you left it behind, it looks a little different than your competition. Because you are competing sometimes you're not. And do you know? Sometimes they're forthright, sometimes they're not. So, like I said, they can tell you some things that they want you to come in, evaluation, oh, you're so nice. Next thing you know, you see some Mississauga agent's got that listing, who it's either their friend or a buddy. Does that bug you? No, that's part of like that 1 in 4. 1 in 4 meaning that you're probably only going to get 1 in 4 of a lot of these random leads, an online lead. Friend tells you the neighbor wants to sell, but that friend doesn't really know a lot about that neighbor. Maybe she's got a son that's a real estate agent, and maybe you're the local person that can give her an opinion, right? So is that going to stop you from going to that person's house? No, because you have an opportunity. You don't know her whole life's dynamics, who the relationships are. Maybe she doesn't have a great relationship with her son, right? So put your best foot forward, put the blinders on, and go straight ahead. If you always worry behind you about your competition, what they're doing, oh, commission, they're going to talk about commission. Oh my God, commission, they're probably going to want to have cheap commission. Well, what do you think is going to come up? Commission's going to come up, and you're going to be dreading it. So commission is going to come up. That's part of our business, our fee for service. So try to translate that into fee for service, throw the brokerage in there. But, the brokerage and ourselves, we have a fee for service to get it done. A lot of the fee is going to the cooperating brokerage to entice them to come. So don't shy away from commission. Why are you worth that $15 or $20 or $30,000? Why are you worth it? Are you going to do a good job? If you're not going to do a good job and you're just going to put a sign up and put an MLS, they might as well go for sale by owner. Right? What are you going to do? What are you going to bring to them? Are you going to bring to them confidence? Are you going to bring to them communication? You have to know yourself what you're going to bring. And if you're going to, then that question about commission doesn't become as offensive or as aggravating when you hear them start bringing it up. Obviously, they've been brainwashed by people at work, by their neighbors. Oh, you could get it cheaper, you can get it for 1%, blah, blah, blah. They don't even know what they're being told by their friends or their coworkers. You have to educate them when you get the opportunity, and in a nice way. So getting back, you can see how I'm going all over the place. That is my style. It's like a magician, put one hand and do it in the other. You are going to have your own style. When you're at people's homes, you're kind of on display. It's kind of like an actor and actress. You're trying to still be original and genuine, but at the same time, you're trying to be a chameleon to adapt to their situation, right? Because you're trying to make them comfortable. Most people are comfortable when they're with somebody that's got the same kind of values or kind of appreciates what they have. And it can be hard at times because you're getting thrown into weird situations. All I can tell you is the reason why having something prepared ahead of time is so important. It's a number of reasons that are intangible. So because it's intangible, a lot of people think it's smoke and mirrors, but it's not. If you worked hard on putting together a nice presentation, maybe you took something that was already done by the brokerage and you tweaked it to put your own style on it, and you paid some money and printed them and had your daughter and yourself and compiling them and have them stacked up there in these 10 binders. Do you think you're probably going to go to 10 appointments maybe in the next quarter? More than likely, you've got them stacked up there, you're looking at them. And it's going to give you a little more drive to go prospect a little bit more, to contact the database. Ask them, if they have any friends at work looking to sell. So when you've done that work and you've invested that money and you've got something you're proud of, you're going to work hard to try to get those listing appointments. So that's just one kind of intangible thing. Believe me, I've had agents at Ajax that have believed in the Brian Buffini system. They've gone and had their binders printed at the beginning of the year. And even though they might be 3 or 4 years in the business, they're doing $250,000 out in Ajax Booneytown because they're prepared. And then because they're prepared, they're doing their little daily tasks. Some days are a little bit more slack than the other, because that's why I've got in this business, to have that little flexibility. But to be totally flexible and on the lounge chair and think we're going to get business, that's only a few great agents that have 25 years in the business and they have all this database and they have people working for them. For ourselves, we have to kind of work more diligently. So when you get the opportunity, put your best foot forward, because you don't really know what that opportunity is. And then people say, well, do you leave that binder behind? Oh, yes, for sure, because that binder is a marketing binder. You're marketing Royal LePage. You're marketing Royal LePage Connect, your community. Now it's like the sisterhood with 1,400 agents, 16 locations. We have access to exclusive listings with 10,000 agents, and we can pre-promote it right ahead of time. So there's a lot of things that you have of value that you can kind of get the message out and leave behind in case they're reviewing other brokerages and they're wanting to reference it. In terms of marketing, go ahead. Yes. Yeah.
So these binders, do you leave them behind?
Always. It costs me $18 to prepare. So when I prepare a binder, it's $2.50 for the binder, about $1.49 for the dividers. And then the color printing, I have like 50-something pages of printing, cost me like $9. I get them done on glossy paper ahead of time, 3-hole punched them, get those things all ready, kind of ready to go. Got one for my front cover, one for my back cover. If I had time and I'm not in a rush, I can go to public records when I'm there. So I'm still gonna, like I said, I'm going all over the place. But so far, all we've gotten after the phone call is we got to public records. We've been snooping a little bit, but there's pictures on public records too. They go back a little bit, but the most recent one, sometimes they're not the best pictures, but you can actually download, save one of those pictures. And then I have a Word document that looks exactly the same, where I can take that picture and suck it in, put the person's name and residence on. So that's my inside first cover. So within a few minutes, I can have at least a picture that's resemblance. And sometimes it just brings up, oh, that's one of the old photos with that car out front. So we're ready to start talking about it. So yeah, I took that one off public records. It's a little bit dated, but again, you're starting a conversation and it's bringing back memories for them. But again, let me not diverge too much. Let's get back to public records. You get a phone call, you go to MLS Treb Stratus, you go to links, public records, we put the address in, and we've done the little house. We snooped, enhanced, we got the zoning. Again, that's where I got kind of taken off track. Zoning, if you have time, call the planning department and ask, could this lot be severed? What is the applicable zoning uses of this? Ask them if they have time, if they could email you that little report. Because wouldn't it be nice if you actually had that email correspondence, 3-hole punched in your marketing thing, that you've already called city and you've left behind some information for them on what the best end use could be? You may not be able to be severed, but then you know the answer. that no, can't be severed. We got to kind of sell it as is, as the house. But if it was severable, maybe the best end use is to have 2 lots, and demolish the house. So good to know that going in, just in case that question gets answered. Also, it shows a lot of due diligence on your part, because a lot of other agents won't do that kind of stuff, right? So again, you're laying the groundwork to show that there's some value of using you as an agent because of your research, again, punctuality, being there on time is very important. Again, how you dress is important as well. It's your buddy. Don't just dress with your buddy clothes on. Try to dress one little coat above them. They're going to be in their shorts and their golf shirts and you're meeting him and his wife. Maybe just have a nice shirt on and slacks, or a nice skirt and blouse. It doesn't have to be full suit all the time. I mean, if you're going to go to a carriage trade presentation, you can, again, have a nice suit on, or again, a nice dress with a blazer. So again, dress maybe one step above the person you're meeting, even if it's your friend, because your friendship's great, but sometimes they don't see you as a true professional. If you're just too casual, you want to, if you're going to meet for an hour or two at their home, treat that as the business part of your friendship. Okay, so all these little things kind of add up. But getting back to public records, you've gone through that. On the top right, there's that little yellow square says PDR, Property Detail Report. Has everyone got their profile all up to date where you have your picture in there? So when you print it, there's a little picture of your face and your information. So on public records, if you're on that page when you first open up, there's a little CN Tower on the left. It says MPAC CN Tower. Right above it's got the word profile. If you click on profile, you can upload a photo and you can put in your brokerage information so that when you print the PDR, the Property Detail Report, it comes up with a nice little section with your picture in there and your information rather than a cutout silhouette of a blank guy, right? So that's, again, a little chore to do before you get organized. And then I print the PDR, I print the entire pre-PDR report from public records. Yes.
Yep. So public record has so many things you pay for, and when you pay for, you get it.
Yeah, I don't pay for anything, so I pay for nothing. So there's that dollar sign.
Yes.
You haven't seen me go to the dollar sign yet. I only go to the dollar sign after I get the listing. I get a listing, I'll go to the dollar sign, I'll pay $5 to get the square footage report. That's all I pay for. So really the PDR is free, the Property Detail Report, and that gives you that little summary, a little description, as a picture of the property. It's got a satellite photo. You'll have your little picture on the top. It'll talk about the last sales date and how many bedrooms on the enhanced report. Then if you get the demographics on there, it's pretty cool on demographics. I use it, I print them in color because I will separate the first 2 pages. I will use in part of my market evaluation on public records. The demographics I'll put into my marketing section. So there's like 3 pages. It talks about religion, marital status, how many places are rented versus lived in the area, ethnic, religious things. It's got all that in there. And sometimes I'm bringing up the subject as I'm flipping through there. What are you talking about marketing? I said, well, first we got to determine who's going to buy your house. All right, so I'll get to that as we get through our presentation. And then I reflect back a little bit to the marketing demographics. Who is going to buy that house? That's a good answer to have. If they're asking you, who is going to buy the house? Can you pinpoint it exactly? No, but you can narrow it down quite a bit. Who's going to be the most applicable buyer for that house? Yes.
I was kind of late. And
that's okay.
Very new.
Yeah.
Where should I find this PDR?
PDR, so it's Property Detail Report. So that would be on the Toronto Real Estate MLS Net, which is the MLS Stratus. Okay. When you open it up, you usually got the search button.
Oh, yes.
So go into search.
Okay.
The next screen comes up, and then you go into links. There's a little tab at the top called links. You hit links, and you go down to public record. Boom, open up public record, and that whole site comes up, and then you can put an address in, search the address, and then you can start going through these tabs.
Because I just got 3
days ago. So yeah, so this, if you just started 3 days ago, a lot of this is not so familiar. And I can show you on the screen, but it's going to take away from the main reason I'm here. The main reason I'm here is to talk about presentation. So you think you're getting a listing. What do you do at the listing? How does the event go? How do you follow up? What material are you leaving behind? So, you know, our course could keep going on and on. There will be probably a public records, little video you could watch on public records, and there'll be little courses on that, because it's a big tool, public records all by itself. Okay, so we've got the demographics. So, you know, I got home after here, I went to my printer, I opened up the MLS, I printed off now the PDR report. That's the only thing I've printed off so far. I had the binder sitting there. I could 3-hole punch that and put them into different spots. So that's done. Then I go to the top right corner where the little house is. The yellow house is called Geo Warehouse. I click on that to get into the Geo Warehouse or land registry for that property. Again, to get prepared, if you guys haven't, you can update your profile on Geo Warehouse. It's called My Geo Warehouse. It's a little tab. My Geo Warehouse. Go into that. Put your photo in. Put your brokerage information in that. So when you print things, it's got your photo on the top left, right? So it looks professional. It's not just a little silhouette. So these are little chores on your profiles if you haven't done it already. Okay, so we got into Geo Warehouse for that particular property. Right at that point, I right-click and I print that page because it's got the owner's name, the present owner's name. If you just click like the enhanced report, that doesn't come up. So if you right-click and you print that page, I print that just for my own file. So I know who the owners are, their exact names, right, for my file. Then I go into a tab called Neighborhood Sales. So Neighborhood Sales is another tab. Go into Neighborhood Sales, open it up, and you know what? You've looked at the public records for a couple of minutes. You've looked at the assessment. You looked at what they paid for it. You get kind of a general idea. Hey, that home's maybe worth $700,000-800,000. You're kind of generalizing. It's not like a $200,000 home. It's not a $1.5 million home. You get a kind of an idea. So what I do on the neighborhood sales when I open it up is I adjust the minimum and the maximum. So I might go 300,000 to like 800 or 900,000. So I just toggle my things. I don't want to see those $0 and $2 ones because that'll off skew my average, right? Because $0, $2 ones, that's when they're traded within the family, if they're sold. There's no record of that as to the price they paid because they're just changing properties within families. So I'm tweaking that neighborhood sales. There's a part where you can actually increase the circle from 250 meters to 500 meters to 1,000 meters to 2,500 meters. It's not a great tool, but it's a tool that gives you a good synopsis. So usually on a subdivision, I like to do about 1,000 meters, like 1 kilometer. 1 kilometer circle, and I'll look in the whole last year. So it'll say you could have the dates, and I'll put search. So now it's searching, and it's going to come up with maybe 22 properties in the last year within that circle that's sold. It's got nothing to do with true comparables to the property you had. It's just everything that's sold. Could be a land, could be a townhouse, could be a detached. You get a list of everything. If you're going through that list of 22 and you think, hey, there's one land there that's 900,000, I'm going to unclick that one because that's not relevant. And maybe there's 3 on the bottom that are townhomes that are in the whatever 400,000 or 500,000 range. Maybe I'm clicking those. So now I've got maybe 17 left, and you can see at the bottom it'll have like a range of what the high and the low is and what the average is. And you could keep tweaking that. Especially if you think you're going to go to a home where a seller thinks his property is worth more than it is. You can tweak it so that it comes to an average that's more realistic to the market price. But I do it very quickly. I just get rid of the $0 and the $2 ones. I do that, and then I print the enhanced report. So there's a tab called Enhanced Report. Print that, and I won't do the demographics on that one. I'll unclick the demographics because I've already done them on public record. So now I've got another 2 or 3 page report that has some neighborhood sales. And the reason I'm doing that is because sometimes you don't know what you're getting into. They're asking for something. Oh, what that neighbor's house sell like 8 months ago down the street? Well, on our comparables, we're probably only going to do 90 or 120 days. We're not going to go back a whole year, right? And we may not do some properties that you know, that are 3-bedroom compared to a 4-bedroom. And they're just snooping and nosy. If you've got it right there that they can look at after you've left, they're impressed as well, that you've left them a lot of information. So you, go ahead. Yep.
Yes, sorry.
Yep.
And as you said, when we are comparing the houses,
Yep.
this happens usually in the new subdivision.
Yep.
They have houses, maybe in one or in the area, maybe 1 or 2 house upgrade
Yep.
and
One
one
not.
model home.
Right.
You know, and sometimes this,
Yep.
there is no price for these houses.
Yep.
But the comparable houses,
Yep.
which is sold,
Yep.
they are now upgrade or nothing, and definitely they wanna, they think, actually,
Yep.
it's my point of view.
Yes.
Because my house was
Yes.
a
Yep.
model home, I was thinking, oh, what I pay.
How much more? Do you get 200,000 extra for that,
They,
for that
yeah,
home?
was, which is
Yep.
that,
And myself, I don't get caught up, while I'm doing this quickly stuff and going to public records, I don't get caught up too much in trying to figure out exactly what the comparable is yet. When I do the next section, I start to get a little bit more concentrated on where I think it might range, but I don't make a true decision. I write nothing down as what the value is until I get to the house. And I see what the motivation is of the seller. I see the condition of the house, unfinished basement, no fences, you know what, pool upgrades. So I'm getting to suck that all in as I'm going through the house. And then I can remember back from what I printed and say, oh, well, compared to those ones at 1.2, okay, that's probably like 1.3, 1.35. So do they have to know an exact number when you've left? Is it worth 1,275,000? No, they don't. They need a little range that's realistic. And so don't worry a lot about, while you're doing this, you got an opportunity tonight to go to someone's home. Great, positive. What it's all about, you have no clue till you get there, so don't worry about it. Go there and just do your best job. You know, be confident that you've done some research and you're going to leave behind some research. I don't care if they share it with their neighbor. I don't care if they get a Mississauga agent to come in and do it. We can't control all those things. They might be thinking about that stuff. And if you worry about that stuff and then you think, oh, I'm not going to leave it behind because they might take their brother, well, you're already sending some negative energy, negative feelings. You've got to be positive when you go in there that, you know what, I got an opportunity. My first listing sucked. I mean, it was a ex-commercial Royal LePage agent that was a power of attorney for his mom and dad. Because I had the word I like gardening or something, mom and dad like gardening, he invited me in. And triple wallpaper on every single light switch in the closet. Washrooms had carpeting that were all stained and stinky. 5 fish tanks in the basement. Every single window was original, all silicone shut. You couldn't. So you walk in there, it was like an aquarium. It was crappy wallpaper, all the shrubs overgrown. And you know, he had done some due diligence. A local neighbor was an agent. And they said they could get 199,000. And then I was in there, kind of new, my first listing, know what I'm doing. Well, this is my neighborhood. I think it's pretty good. If we clean this up, I don't know, maybe we'll get 225 range, you know. So obviously he knew I was kind of a rookie, so he sucked me in. You know, I took it, I trimmed up a lot of the shrubs. You're anxious, your first one. You'll scrub windows, you do everything your first one, right? So I was cutting the bushes, doing things. We had 2 garage sales. We listed, and then this guy was tough. Oh man, I was crying. He made me cry. He was so tough and mean. And so I don't like to admit that, but that's facts. He was just very condescending, put you down. Everything he did was not right. But long and short of it, I had a 90-day holdover. After 3 months, we had a couple offers. He didn't accept them. He was asking the other agent for their RICO license for the cooperating agent. So this guy was like a sergeant. Long and short of it, I did sell the house on the holdover. I got 227,000. So yeah, I got through my first one. It was not easy. Man, the tarnish, the real estate, you know, kind of vision that you had was already being tarnished. It's like, oh my God, it's a lot harder than I thought. But you know what? I went to a couple other listings for sale by owners. I never got it. Didn't get it. They kept thinking, well, maybe I should be more prepared. I should do better stuff behind. And I did. I invested more. That the opportunities I did get, I was going to make a good impression. I was going to leave better stuff behind. Next thing you know, the amount of listings I got compared to appointments became higher and higher and higher. So mine's close to 70%. And even with all these odds, 1 in 4, that you don't know why you're going in there. I mean, I lost 3 last year just because, they sold somebody, the person at church, they used that information, sold it privately before you even got a chance to sign anything. Next door, another neighbor had brain cancer, went in, one daughter said she loves me, I was gonna get it. The other daughter took over and brought in 3 other realtors. I didn't even get a call. So those things happen, right? I mean, that's just part of the ways we're gonna lose a few of them. But if you don't do a great job when you get the chance, you may not get another chance. Because you don't know why you're going in, probably 50% of the times. You don't know what, they're not telling you everything, why they've got you there, right? So sometimes they're really impressed. I've had some where I went in there, did my thing, and she says, oh, can we sign up right now and get going? And I never bring my listing stuff with me other than one sheet to get a exclusive signed. I said, you know what? I know you want me to go. I'll come back tomorrow morning at 10. We'll have all the paperwork. I'll have the photographer in here by the afternoon, and we'll have the lawn sign up in the evening. So I already gave her action, things that we were going to do the next day, and sure enough, by 4 o'clock, because it was a beautiful home. I was overwhelmed at it, and my valuation went up when I got there. I thought it was worth maybe 520. Time I left, I said, "Ooh, I think we get like 570, 580. This is beautiful." She says, "Okay, let's get it going. Let's start." I thought, okay. So at least I had the listing agreement signed exclusively for that night. The next day, I had the proper ones done for the MLS, had the photographer in, had it on the MLS by the evening. On Saturday, we sold out for 578. And she was all excited and happy. And that was a lead from an online lead. So I didn't even know that person. I didn't know what I was getting into. But when I was there, I had nice material. I had that nice binder. Told her what I think she thought she could get. So you don't know what you're getting into every time. And they may say that you're competing, and then let's say that Remax person was the first one out of the gate. And they impressed the heck out of them. And they loved that person. They liked his energy. They thought he was great. And then they said, oh, you know what? Why bother having those next 2 people come in? We're just going to go with this guy. So you might lose out. So you should be first, you should be last. Should not make a difference. I like to be first. I like to make a first impression so everybody else can be in the wake, because they keep comparing me to the other people. Right? So if you get an opportunity, I would say be first, because you may not get a chance if you're last. You might have got cut out. Right? So if you get in first, do a great job, and you can wow them. The main reason why they still need realtors, why do they still need realtors? Because they need somebody they can trust. They can press a button and buy a brand new condo. We've got so many different parties that are pulling things together. They're always going to need people. So they need people. They need people they can trust. They trust people better if they can bond with them, right? If you can bond with your clients, much better. Okay, so let's backtrack it again. So far, it's taken a lot longer talking about it than me actually doing these listing binders. So we did public records. I did Geo Warehouse Enhanced Report. I printed those 2. I found places where to put them in. And I kind of know where the area is now, because on public records, I also went to the map. So I get an idea where the cross section is. I kind of now know where that property is. Anytime you go there, you know where it is. It's a new area for you. So then I go into the search mode on the MLS Stratus. I'll go to search mode, and I'll go available, unavailable map search. So I do a map search. So now I pull up the map, and I kind of look at where that area is, because now I know where the crossroads are. I find it, I adjust the map up and down. Then I go to that like pentagon thing instead of a circle. Go to that pentagon thing, and I'll kind of click all around it, like the whole subdivision, maybe a little bit bigger. And then I'll go on the right side, and I'll start putting in, maybe 500 to 800,000 detached. Keep it very general. And then I'll go maybe T minus 200 days. So depending on like 200 days I want to see. I don't want to see 2 years back. So I use 200 days because that kind of gets us to, last Christmas. Prices haven't changed a lot since Christmas, but if we went back a whole year, obviously last April was crazy compared to now. So at least that gives you a good feeling for 3-4 months what's happened. And I pull all that up and I start opening them one by one. I just look at the homes, and then the ones I think that's pretty close to that home, I'll start printing. So I start printing. I have a lot. I'll probably have 8, 9, 10, 12 different things. I'll print in black and white. Just print black and white for cost efficiency. And then if there's one that looks really wow, I'll print the pictures in color. So print some pictures in color. So at least I can review a couple of things if we get time, right? Because sometimes you're leaving that behind. You get tight for time. You see how quickly our time goes here. Start talking and chatting. And Of course, we're supposed to be doing the listening, but we're at a point now where I have to talk to get my point across. Time goes very fast. So realistically, I'd say 80% of what I got in that binder, I don't spend any time on at all. That's left behind as reference, things that they can look at later. You have a reason to call a couple of days later, ask if they've gone through the binder, and had any questions, or do they have a look at some of the other properties, right? So you get a chance, a real reason why to call back. Okay, so again, I got the little pentagon going, I'm drawing around, I adjust some criteria, I don't make it too specific, I still want a general. Then I want to look, even if there's like 57 listings, I will look through them all. I'll take them all the time, I'll look through them quickly, and evaluate them fast. I said, oh crap, not close, too small yard, this is a 3-bedroom, and I'll maybe have 8 or 10 that I'll print that have been sold, right, in the last 200 days. So I've got an idea, starting to get a little bit closer and tighter for the value. And then I'll look at the main thing. The main thing is the competition. What's available right now? So when determining the price, that's why you said these comparables and racking your brain so much ahead of time. What should this home be worth? Well, you haven't seen the upgrades or the renovations or the yard size of the neighbors' homes, or what does that street look like. You haven't seen how much competition is out there for, prices. It's again supply and demand. More competition, the sharper the price has to be if they're actually truly want to sell. Right, so these are things you're evaluating as you go, and as you do these things, you start to become more confident, so that when you get there, you have a good feeling what the street looks like, kind of what the homes are going for in the range, and then you can start fine-tuning the price as you're going through the home and finding out their motivation, if there is any. I'd say half the times there is no motivation, and they're just using you to come up with an idea for value, because they might sell in a few years if you can find them the right thing. Right? So we always have a few clients like that in our pool, and we should continue to have them, because believe me, they come back as some nice little thank yous from heaven, where they all of a sudden wake up and they say, oh, you know what? They're sending you stuff from Realtor.ca and saying, oh, just saw this bungalow. You haven't talked to them in like 3 months. Been sending them stuff, no reply back, and they say, oh, just saw this nice bungalow, in Uxbridge, whatever, 700,000. Can we have a go look at it? So that happened to me last week, where the clients woke up. I was looking for a place in Pickering, a bungalow with a swimming pool, and I thought they were always in that 700,000 to 800,000 range. Well, they send me one for $1 million. I'm thinking, oh, I didn't question them. I guess they do have more money than they thought. So we went out and looked at it, sold over asking quickly, and it needed too much work. While I was there, I said, oh, there's another nice one I saw, since you've got that kind of money to work with. Saw one out in Bethany for $899,000, 2.4 acres, log home, beautiful swimming pool. On the Monday, we went out and looked at that. Again, it's sold conditionally before we got a chance to actually put our offer in, because they were hemming and hawing. Came back on the market. We put an offer in. We went in 50,000 lower, and another offer came in at the same time. Was multiple offers. We went right up to full asking, but we still had the condition on the bacterial water test. Because out in the country, you got septic and wells. So I kept the condition on bacterial water testing, and we kept the home inspection, because the previous deal I found out didn't go through, and they had a home inspection, and they said it didn't go through because they changed their mind. So now I'm thinking, I don't know what to trust. I'm servicing my clients, one of my best friends. Okay, so I'm not going to take that home inspection clause out, because now I'm a little bit antsy. And I left the bacterial water test in there, because you can't get a mortgage if you don't have good, clean, potable drinking water. So I left those two in. The agent called back at 8:30 on Friday and said, sorry, Rick, we went with the other offer. They came in, same price. They were $100 more. They went at $900,000, firm, no conditions. No financing, no mortgage, no home inspection, no bacterial water testing. And I thought, whoa, good luck to them, enjoy. There is a farmer's field right beside that's sloping towards their land. So I don't know what kind of nutrients, or if they're putting any kind of cow manure on there that's into the well. So again, you're not going to get them all, but that client was still kind of sad that they missed it, but also appreciative that I kind of had their back on what they should be looking for. So again, I'm diverging, but these are people that come back out of the woodwork. Again, these guys might not reappear for like another 2 years, because sometimes they're doing the snooping and they're sending you stuff. So you'd like to have some clients like that in your portfolio. Are they going to make you get rich quick and you're going to make money on fast? No, but they're going to be in your system. Because they're in your system, kind of looking if they can find the right thing, you have good leverage to go ask them for referrals. Most people don't look their database properly. They don't ask for referrals properly. They kind of diverge. The next best thing, they try to take off the shelf. Ooh, online leads. Let's go look at, oh, look at what's going on. Let's try some of this. Well, let's go back to the fundamentals and the basics. 75% of our business, people that are using Royal LePage or Remax agents, Sotheby's or Harvey Kalas, because they want good quality service. They trust us, and they're gonna recommend us to friends, right? That's where you're gonna get most of your business, and they're gonna be warm leads. Warm leads are better conversion than cold leads. Open houses, you're gonna meet some people there. You might have a connection, but again, they don't know you yet, so you have to kind of keep building that. So those are good sources of leads, not as good as your database. So don't be shy on your database. So keep thinking of ideas why you should contact them that have value. You guys have the pre-construction stuff available that a lot of brokers don't have. Yeah, personally, you may not want to get involved in it and it may not be of interest. That doesn't mean that they don't have extra money set aside where maybe they want to take some out of the stock markets and maybe buy one pre-construction to get started. So to me, that's a good reason to call, right? Saying, hey, Harry, just touching base. We got a couple of new pre-construction units have come up. Not sure where you and your wife are in terms of investment. If you were ever thinking of an investment, I could forward you a couple of these pre-construction opportunities. If it's of interest, just let me know and we can take it to the next step. So it's not very invasive. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't pushy. Right? So you got to get better at that. And then you will actually start to put database on your agenda more. Okay, so we haven't even got to the house yet on our first appointment. So you think you're getting a listing. Again, it could be an evaluation, but they're having a breakup and they want you to come in for like a letter of opinion or evaluation. You could use the same binder, put some information in there, walk through the home, and then write a note. From my experience, I think the home is worth between $875,000 and $900,000 on May 7th, and this evaluation is good for 60 days. And sign it, leave it with them. Might you get that listing? Maybe, maybe not. Divorce cases are not easy, right? They might be so distraught with each other where a judge has to pick a realtor. If you're good and you think you're only on the one side, or maybe you're on the women's side and they like you, but the husband doesn't, you might suggest that, worst comes to worst, you want to be represented by me because you trust me. Maybe suggest to your husband that he picks, a realtor and you could co-list it. I don't care if it's a Remax and yourself, we could co-list it, right? So they're each being represented. You could have your signs back to back. You could both work together as realtors. Your pie is not so big, but you're taking care of your friend because maybe after that you're going to help her find a townhome or a condo, right? So you're still in the loop with the real estate and get a piece of it. So again, that's just ideas when opportunities are there. How do you proceed? Yes.
If you get a listing.
Yep.
And I'm licensed interior decorator and home
Yep.
stager.
Yep.
Should I combine because
It's a good opportunity. I mean, this will get to the point.
Yeah.
This will get to the point where what kind of value added are you bringing to that client? Why would they use you? Remember I said at the beginning, why would somebody use you? If you can actually save them money, use your experience by using your staging ability to help them, that's a big plus. Big plus, right? So again, that's something that you're probably going to work into your marketing strategy.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's not going to be, let's say, sometimes, the client, they overprice and
Oh.
whatever you say, they say, no, my house is worth this much.
Right.
And you offer your service, not to charge them like complimentary,
Yep.
to stage their home.
Yep.
But it's not going to affect if the house, because of the price,
Yep.
it stays in the market longer.
Yep.
They're not going to say, oh, no, because you staged it,
Yep.
I don't want to conflict like.
Well, that's the part where the only time it conflicts with staging, the only time it comes into conflict is if you kind of bug them a little bit by telling them to put stuff away and it hurts them, right? This is why sometimes you have a third party in. Me as an agent, I never go to my staging consultation. I have a lady, I pay $150, get her to meet my clients at their leisure. They can talk all they want. I don't care if they spend an hour and a half. I'll get a report back from my home stager as to what she recommended.
No, we have a good strategy.
You have a good relationship, which is good.
How to get them,
Yep.
not to get disappointed.
Yep, so that's
Because
so,
they love the design of their home,
Oh,
but
right, and if you can,
there is a professional way to say, we love your home, but, you know.
we need to do these things to appeal to more people.
Absolutely.
And if you're good at that, that's great. I don't think you're taking away anything from your business by having that kind of credentials. I'm a curb appeal expert. I'm a gardener, landscaper, a horticulturalist. So I've got good idea on curb appeal. So I can give them tips on, whether it's pots or benches, or we have to redo the walkway or trim some shrubs down. So I can already give myself a few opinions. So I get my foot in the door there. And I try not to be offensive and that, people don't want to spend so much money, so you have to be careful what you're saying. You might tell them to rip that one crappy shrub out, and it was grandma's shrub that they had from the farm. And so one agent lost a listing because there was a curio cabinet in the corner, and he had told my friend, I just started, so she brought in a couple of realtors, just take that curio cabinet, put it in the garage. Well, she called me, that agent told me to put grandma's curio cabinet in the garage. That guy's never stepping foot in my house again, right? So you can say the wrong things, and all that work and effort got blown up. Boom. You walk into somebody's house and you look into the right, they got the French doors, the little living room, it's all very formal. You see all the Elvis plates on the whole wall. It's all Elvis plates, and you're thinking, okay, kind of cool, but how am I going to breach the subjects not to offend them? And it's just, man, it's how you approach it. Say, wow, that's an awesome collection, and that must have took you a while to put that together. Pretty valuable. I hate to see any of those get broken. You know what? When we do list the home, we'll probably want you to take all those down and pack them up neatly, because we don't want any of them to be either stolen or damaged, right? So that's one nice way of saying how to take down family photos, right? You compliment them always, right? And then ask them very nicely, and you get better at that, because if you say the wrong things, a couple little things, some people take it differently. And next thing you know, you've lost that listing. I got a listing from two big agents for sale by owner that I converted, and I was in there. I was a nice person. I think they can move me as a puppet around a little bit because I was inexperienced. Went up against a big agent, and they didn't like him because he smelled like smoke. All his clothes smelled like smoke. They were very meticulous people that didn't smoke. They didn't like him. They told me. And then the other one, he had 100 listings. All he talked about was himself. Going to Toronto, he got the box, the skybox, and he got this. And he said, that's all he talked about the whole time was himself. And so they didn't like that. So again, it's your vocabulary, how you're coming across, trying to adapt it to the situation. It might be that it's one of your buddies, and that's all they do is go to the games and stuff, or golfing, and that's how you have to bond with them, because that's maybe something you like as well. That's the time to bring it up. But if you're at the home situation and the wife hates it because he goes out all the time, you start talking about like yourself, she's not going to like you either. So you have to kind of blend, and that's what I said, that theatrical part, kind of playing the game a little bit when you're in there. You got to adapt to the situation. Okay, so far we've started that map search. I've printed off a few listings, put a couple things in color. I found a few places to put those on comparables for sold in your neighborhood or sold in your area. And then the next section is the competition, which is very important. What's for sale right now? If they are willing to go to the market in the next month or so, and all of a sudden there's 52 listings in the 700,000 to 850,000 range, well, without it being stagnant, we're going to have to be kind of competitive. They can't reach and try the 900,000 at that point, because you're going to be answering questions every day why it's not selling, what's going on. You said it was worth it. You took the listing, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to have to babysit them every day and worry about it, because you are worried about it. You're doing something, oh man, I'm gonna have to call them. I have to probably send them an email, let them know. How am I gonna get that price adjustment? Oh man, right? So that's what you're thinking about for a while. That takes energy away from you, for you the next morning to go out and go do some prospecting. So you can get yourselves in these little holes, right? That's because we wanted it. We didn't have too many listings, so we did it. It was a friend. We took that little extra listing a little higher. So that's doing exactly what you didn't want the competition to do, was to buy the listing, right? To buy it and just promising that price. And it wasn't super realistic, right? So without having to have maybe a qualification where you say, hey, you know what, maybe we'll have this for 1 week and we'll sign 2 listings, one for a week, for 60 days, and then we'll cancel it. We have a cancellation, and then we'll do it for another 60 days or 90 days, and we'll have it at this price. So you're ready to go, because they change their minds a lot. Once it's up and running, oh, remember the week honeymoon's over, it's a week, and you're trying to ask them for price adjustment. Oh no, I think it's still good. You know, I think it keeps going. Next thing, 2 months goes by, and you still got that same price. Oh, that's that. We got some emergency thing going on. Okay, seminar's over. Okay, so getting back to, you know, just pricing it, getting the report together. So I got the public records, got Geo Warehouse. I did my map search. I printed a bunch of stuff, a couple things in color. I snuck it in. The competition is important, and you have to let them know if we're going to the market and there's no competition, it's only 1 or 2, we can be a little greedier. So I use that word all the time. So we can be a little greedier. So because we're in it together. Because when you win, I win. You know, that's our brokerage wins. So you have to kind of pull them in. That's a team. You're trying to not be confrontational with your potential seller. And sometimes they are, because they've got a kind of fixed mind. They only want this commission. They only want this. They want that price, and we're going to bash this guy till we get this. Right? So you've got to kind of get over that, and you got to pull them in that you're on the same team. When you win, I win. Our brokerage wins. We all win. And of course, you know, the more money I can make, the more money he can make. So I'm trying to do this to make money for all of us. If they can believe that, Jamie, you're looking at them in the eye. So as soon as you start getting in there, you're a little nervous, you didn't prepare right. They come asking you about commission right when you're at the front door, and you start to get a little bit shell shocked. And next thing you know, you're looking down at the carpet when you're talking, or you're just looking at your notes and not looking up at them, right? You have to, in this business, you have to have very good eye contact. You have to have good body language. It tells them, it's sending a signal subliminally that you're confident, right? That you're confident. You're sending that signal. You're confident in what your responses are. You're not too weak and shy. So how are you going to negotiate their $2.3 million home if you're a little bit nervous and shy and you're kind of flustered when they ask you a few questions on commissions? Right? So you've got to have the answers. That gets back to pre-planning. You know, there's things on scripts. Sometimes you practice them, but you have to put it into your own flair. So when I do something like this, have I practiced anything? No. I got 3 binders out of my desk, found this book this morning, I made a couple tabs, and I came here, started talking, you know, about what I'm trying to get across. So the key thing I'm trying to get across is being prepared. Having a listing presentation, and it doesn't have to be just for a listing. It could be, you could call it a CMA. You could call it your marketing package. It's my marketing package. When I go to a home, I'm marketing myself and the brokerage, so that if the opportunity doesn't come today, it might come in a year, 2 years. So when I got an email last spring, it says, hey, Rick, just touching base. Oh, the first thing it said, oh, we're ready, exclamation mark. Hey, Rick, just touching base. I want to let you know we're ready to buy the condo and sell the home. Still got your binder from 4 years ago. Don't do much work. Talk to you soon. It's like, pretty good. They kept the binder for 4 years. And send an email back, says great, there's tomorrow night work at 7:30, we could do some paperwork, I'll bring some up-to-date statistics so we know where the market's at, and we'll go from there. And as a manager not competing, I got a lot of time like, oh my God, they want that condo. And that's gonna be in Whitby and Ajax, there's not a lot of them. I'm thinking, even though they're ready to go, it still might take a year to find something, because they're very picky. I had the same conversation 4 years ago. So I bring a colleague in and say, hey, if you wanna come to me with this listing presentation, you can help them find the condo, and then we could share 50-50. So we get there, they bonded with all of us. My colleague went out first weekend, found something in Ajax, and we bought it. So I was under the impression it was going to take me a long time. I was already, you know, kind of not believing in it, and sharing it, getting a colleague that did believe in it, actually made it happen. So don't hesitate sometimes to share with a colleague if you're not experienced at something or you don't believe in it fully. Because it's better to get half of something than nothing, because you never know where that evolves, right? So I've done many of that in my career right from the start, where I've shared a lot of my listings with people. 72% of my business has been listings. In terms of dollar volume, I think it's 64% is in units, right? So obviously I had some big sales that kind of skewed the listing. So that's always been my driving factor. You're in control, I don't care what the market is. Balanced sellers, buyers market, you are under control when you're a listing agent. Everyone's got to come to you, right? You're in charge. Buyer agent's great, you can make some quick cash, right? Things happen, great, it all lines up. How many times have you worked with somebody for 2 years, run around, 10 offers, didn't work? So it's tough work too. Buyer agents are tough work. So it is good to have a blend, but try as much in your career to try to do 2/3 listing, 1/3 buying. Because you will get stuff happening off the listing. Doesn't mean you have to take every buyer. You can pass them on to a colleague and take 25% referral, right? If you don't want to be able to or can't handle them all. Never be shy with that either. You do an open house, you did it by yourself, you have a mortgage person there, you had 18 people come through, 6 of them were realtors, 2 of them didn't want to sign in, and you got maybe like 7 candidates that aren't working with a realtor, could be some kind of potential. Maybe when you look at that, you've already got 2 listings and you got a couple buyers. Maybe you take 2 nice ones, keep them for yourself, have the other 5, you bundle them up, give it to one of your buddies, colleagues in the office, ask if they'd like to have 5 potential leads, and if anything comes out of them, you'd get a 25% referral. How do you track that? You have to have trust. I mean, if you don't have trust, everything gets eroded, right, in this business. You start second guessing everything, you look behind your back, you're calling buyers or liars. A lot of times they're just misinformed. They've been brainwashed by somebody else. They've been given some bad information, right? Some of them, yes, are some bad apples always, but don't base your business and your whole attitude on bad apples, right? So have a good heart, do a good job, come to the house prepared. So if you come to the house, so I'm driving up to the house, I got my binder. Do I know exactly what that house is? No clue. I got an idea, range. I'm driving in the neighborhood, I'm like, pretty nice neighborhood, nice trees, homes are well kept. So that's a good feeling already. Or you could come into the neighborhood and say, ooh, townhomes, bunch of cars on the street, kids' nets, things on the boots are on the roof. It's like, ooh, kind of hokey. So you're going in and then you get to some nicer homes. So you have to go through a little bit of a crappier neighborhood to get into a nice neighborhood. That's not the best feeling either for new buyers coming in. So that's maybe playing in your idea of valuation when you get to the house. Then you look, you're at the car, at the curb, maybe you park, you get out and you've got the binder and your black portfolio. You look at the roofs. See, is everyone taking care of their roofs? If there's 2 or 3 roofs that haven't been taken care of, it's sending a sign that maybe some people in the neighborhood are at their limit of cash flow, right? So they might just be getting by. So those are things you're sucking in. As you're walking up, look at the driveway. It's got cracks in it. By the garage, is it sunk in 4 inches by the garage? Is the interlocking brick walkway tipping with weeds in it? Is the door dirty with spider webs in the corner? Evaluate these things. You're sucking these things in because that's telling you an impression. What are you going into? I can tell right away from curb appeal if somebody has pride of ownership. You can tell if their shrubs are pruned meticulously, and the walkway's all swept, not a weed in sight, everything's painted nicely. Inside that house is probably going to be very similar. You're gonna come to somebody who's got pride of ownership. Those are nice people to work with. So if it's the reverse, things are all disrepair. You're thinking, wonder if they're short on money. Wonder if they're having some marital problems. Maybe they don't give a shit about the outside and the inside's beautiful. You don't know, but you're making a little bit of a judgment as you go. And you ring the doorbell or knock on the door, and then you're greeted. In the winter, you're shaking hands, taking your coat off, your boots, whatever you got to do. And usually you got your binder and your thing in your hands, and you're going to do the main floor. You say, you know what? While we're here on the main floor, let's just have a swing around the main floor. Pretend we're like buyers. Let's pretend we're buyers. Let's go through it. And you look at the living room, maybe in the laundry room. Maybe you quickly look in the garage, and you say, hey, you got a big garage. It'd be a perfect place, to put some of our overflow items if needed. So you're giving some advice. You're already pretending you're the realtor. You have no clue why you're even there, really. You don't know if they're going to list right now. You don't know if they're just getting an idea of price. But you're pretending you're the realtor. Walk them through that main level, get to the kitchen, and so, let's sit down for a few minutes. We can do the upstairs and the downstairs later. Let's just kind of go through a bit of reasoning, where you guys are at. What the reason are you here for? So you got to figure that out, right? And that's going to help lead you as you go through. Ask them, what are you guys making? What are your next plans? So where's the next transition? So this way you can start thinking, hey, can I get in on the buy-in? Could I help them with the buy-in? Maybe they've already got a new home being built, and 3 months from now it's going to be ready and they're going to want to list their home. So now we kind of know, okay, there's no buy-in probably. So you can start thinking a little bit about holding your commission up. You're not going to have to use the buy-in to give away a little bit. So you've plotted a few questions. Ask them how long they've been here. You know, when you guys bought the house, what was the one or two factors that really convinced you to buy this house? Kind of get into their relationship a little bit. If it's a nice relationship and they're all friendly, ask them, you know, I'm always curious, you know, how did you guys fall in love and get married? It's always a nice story, you know, because everyone's got a different story, and sometimes you talk for 5 minutes about how they met, where they're going, what the children are up to. So you're actually being genuine. And I use that, you know, how did you meet? It's not going to use that if it's going to be a divorce case and you can feel it's already grumbling, right? Sometimes you put your foot in the mouth and said, oh, it doesn't really matter, we're getting divorced. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit, right? So a little bit of humor, because it's, you know, you're kind of tense, you're nervous, you got an opportunity, if you do it right, maybe you can make 15, 20,000 commission, maybe get their buy-in, maybe get referrals for the next 10 years. You can make a lot of money if you do it right, so you're a little nervous. You're not sure even why you're there exactly. So you're trying to prod them, you're trying to slip in and feel comfortable, where it looks like you're relaxed and confident. So those are all things that you have to develop, and it just doesn't happen your first time. First 1 or 2 times, you're very nervous going in there. So get more and more comfortable. You get more and more comfortable when you're prepared, right? Because you think you've done a good job. Yeah, they're going to ask you a few questions that maybe you didn't know about. You know, maybe I didn't look at that enhanced report close enough and look what the zoning was. And they ask you, hey, you know what, could somebody put in like a triplex here? And you're thinking, oh, well, I'll have to check the zoning and maybe talk to the city planning department to qualify that. I can get back to you in the next few days on that, right? So don't see how you didn't flinch on that and worry that, oh, I don't know that. You have to actually come up very quickly with a response, how you're going to address it. And then if you do, actually the next mornings, talk to the planning department, get an email, and maybe the next evening or the following day, you send them an email with the response, they're going to be appreciative of that, right? So if you say you're going to do something, you've got to do it. You're starting to build that foundation for them for trust. So you're at the kitchen table, you're chatting a little bit about them. You can maybe go through the first section of the binder, talk a little bit about, you know, why when you do list and you're ready to go, why Royal LePage is going to be one of your best options. Start with Royal LePage. You know, you talk about market share. You say, you know, there's 2 big brokerages in Canada, Remax and Royal LePage. We both have similar market share. Royal LePage is Canada's company, and we have, you know, 2.5 billion media impressions, and we're continuing to grow, and the momentum is rising. So you could have a quick little elevator speech about Royal LePage. Why Royal LePage, your community, the brokerage you've dealt with, the colleagues that you're partners with, right? Everyone here in the room, we're working together. Because if you've got something, you need the other person most of the time to bring a deal. So we're working with colleagues, and the more the culture we can work together, the more we all can be successful together. As soon as we start looking at our colleagues as adversaries, and we're always watching behind our back, no one's going to steal on me, they're going to take my listing, I'm not going to talk to them about where I'm going next. Somebody's going to go get it first. If you have that kind of attitude, good luck. I mean, this business becomes tough. You know what? You got to build trust and rapport with your colleagues. So I have a lot of colleagues that'll ask me, hey, Rick, going out tonight, can you do me a quick evaluation of this? I keep their stuff confidential. I do a good job, even when I was an agent, and they ask for your advice, right? You keep it confidential and you help them out, because then they're going to do you a favor down the road. So that all comes back. That karma, you know, what you do to others, you know, do unto yourself, that all comes back. So it catches up. So be a nice person to your colleague, because they're going to be part of your backbone going forward to assist you if you want to get to some next levels. Okay, getting away from that, we're at the kitchen table, did the schmoozing for 5-10 minutes, went over a little bit about Royal LePage, connect your community, maybe talk about even the opportunity of, you know, exclusive listing, where if you've heard commission asked like 4 times before you even got to the kitchen table, and, you know, what do you think it's worth and stuff, you know already that this person wants as much for this house as they can get. And you're thinking, well, maybe we could try it. You're thinking, maybe we could try this exclusively for 2 or 3 weeks and maybe test the market with a higher price. And this way it's not recorded on the MLS system. So you know we've got that ability. That might be the right time to maybe bring the subject up about, maybe trying it exclusive for a few weeks. We have over 10,000 agents we put it out to in Toronto. A lot of them, like Sotheby's and Chestnut Park and Remax and Royal LePage, they have good agents with good clients that have money, and maybe we could test the water out for a few weeks. If that doesn't work, then at least we have a feedback, and we could readjust things before we hit the MLS system and go live. Right? So you're going to get better at using that. Yes.
So you always suggest
Yep.
we have to go to MLS first?
No,
Or no,
no, you don't even have to go to MLS. You can
Yeah.
sell it exclusively.
exclusive first and then MLS.
That's kind of the normal technique, or you don't even have to go exclusive first. You could just go right on MLS right away, bam, right? So you go right on MLS if they're ready to go.
But it depends on the market.
Well, of course, it depends on the market, but I have a feeling that if the market's really good and hot, you're going to go right to MLS. If it's not so hot and they want to test the waters because they still want maximum price, you might try exclusive for a little bit. Oh, sorry, got another question. Yep.
How do you reach out to like Sotheby's and stuff like that?
Well, we have, through Royal LePage York Community, we have Broker Bay. So we're all part of Broker Bay.
Right.
And when we put that listing on Broker Bay, and when we go from my brokerage to exclusive network, when we click that red button, now all of a sudden it goes to 10,000 agents.
I thought that was just within.
No. So when you first signed the exclusive and the girls at the front desk or the guys load it up and they put it onto the exclusive, it goes onto what's called my brokerage. So that means originally, without consent from you guys, it goes to the 1,400 agents. Connect and your community agents, 16 locations, we get all that. So maybe that's the first thing I tell my folks. I said, you know what, we can start it and we can dabble and try with the 1,400 agents with our 16 locations. Try that for 2 or 3 days, see what kind of response we got. I can put it on haves and wants, and I try that out. Then I can hit a button and I can put it onto the exclusive network just by hitting one button. Then it gets released to the Sotheby's, Chestnut Park. If you look over to Broker Bay, you'll see some of the logos that's involved. There's about 10,000 agents, usually the better agents that have better clients. So maybe you try that for a couple of weeks, see what the response is. If nothing's happening, that's when the third part, maybe the marketing comes in and you say, well, I think we've had a chance to kind of paint those couple of bedrooms. We've tried the exclusive. We had a couple of showings. Nothing's really clicking. Now it's time maybe to hit the MLS and open it up to the 50,000 agents and get it on realtor.ca. So you've got great tools, a lot more tools than a lot of other brokerages. Those Home Lives and the Right at Homes, they're not going to spend that extra money, their brokerage, to go pay for this. It costs a lot of money to get on the brokerage. So Broker Bay. So a lot of agencies don't do it. So you have another plus. Part of our marketing that we're going to do as a group on the mastermind, we are going to, on our next listing presentation, we will have something about the exclusive and the opportunities with that and why we're different from some of the brokerages. Yes, you had a question? Yep.
Well, so when you were talking about your client perhaps wanting to get the most from the house, you would suggest exclusive.
Yep.
Then you can play with, not play, but adjust
Yep.
your commission.
Well, that can be tough, definitely sure. I mean, traditionally on Broker Bay too, they still want to have because you're talking with good agents that have buyer reps signed up, they want that money. You're an agent, I got the 2.5 signed, I want the 2.5. I don't want to do it for 2. I don't want to go to my client and beg for an extra 0.5% or just, give it to them. So Broker Bay, a lot of them are the 2.5%. So you try not to bring commission into play. If you really have to, and you say, you know what, because it could happen quickly without a lot of marketing costs, we could try that for a week at 4%, maybe 2 or 2, right? So that's still fair, but offering at 1%, no, Broker Bay won't even allow you to put it on. So Broker Bay is a private company and they're still trying to hold standards, right? And it's the same as the brokerages are. As soon as we start all eroding, we all go downhill quick. So my brother is the competition commissioner for all of Canada. So, when I got into this business many years ago, he says, oh, Rick, you better be careful because you know what, it's going to be competitive. They're going to be just like the States and they're going to have this commission. I said, well, that's great, but the States have, most of them are 6% still, even though it's opened up to Zillow and all that kind of stuff. I said, they need good people that bring good value. I still have a lot of agents making 6% when they make the presentations. Do they get it every time? No, but they can. They can get good percentage if you believe in yourself and you make your presentation to your client. Is every one of them going to go for that? No. There's going to be 1 or 2 buddies that they're cheap and they are flippers and are investors. It's only about money. Just get the next guy in here. I just want to pay my 1 or 2% and get out of here. That's all I want. You have to make a decision. Do you want to deal with them or not? right? So maybe it is good to have one person like that in your portfolio, but you know what, have a friends and neighborhood price for commission. Maybe it's a small little 1/4% discount for friends and neighbors. You might have that in your portfolio that you think about and you believe in. Maybe you've got the technique here where I'm going to show you even way back when, and I do this a lot in mine when I'm talking about commission. I said, you know what, there's so many options on commissions. They are negotiable. Commission is one of the best tools we have. You talk to the client. You're my client, we're sitting at the table. Commission is one of the best tools we have. In a competitive market, one of the things that we can stand out if we offer a little bigger carrot. If everybody has the same size carrot, and then ours is a little bit juicier, we're going to attract more rabbits. We're going to have more people coming to us. More of the agents are going to show our home because the agent's going to be able to make more money. Agents are in here to make money too. We're not here just to fool around, right? So if you can convince them that, you know, a small 0.5% or 1% increase should get us a good return back and at least good traffic, and we can evaluate. So a lot of times I'll start mine off with 3% cooperating brokerage. This is my conversation. We'll have a 3% cooperating brokerage where we attract clients. Some of the other agencies have tried 2.75. That also works too if there's not as much competition. So those are the things that we could concentrate on to attract as many buyer agents as we can. So you're starting to concentrate on that 2.75. And so our brokerage for, you know, coordinating all the listing appointments, for all the marketing that we're going to be doing, for the negotiations and getting you more money, our brokerage is looking at the standard 2.5%. So that's all I talked about. I never said the word 5 once. I never said 4. I talked about 2.75 because I talked about 3. I was brainwashing 3, but I quickly dropped to 2.75. 2.75 is a good carrot. You know, and then, you know, our brokerage for all the work that we've got to do, and you have to realize you got to know what the brokerage does for the clients. You know, booking showings, coordinating things, appointment rooms for presentations, you yourself for marketing, photography, virtual tours, feature sheets. You know, that's all stuff that the cost of the MLS, you guys paid TREB dues and pre-dues. That's to fund the system that you're going to use to market their house. So you bring that up, you know, the MLS cost. And when you hear things, you know, like somebody can do it for 1%, good luck. Go get them to come in and listen to their presentation. You know what? You think that when they leave the house that it's going to be 1%? No way. It's going to be 4.5%, because they're going to do the switch and bait. They'll get into your house, and then they're going to start talking to you about how it really works. I could do it for 1% if my buyer buys it, and you also give me a buy agreement on the other end where I'm going to make my 2.5. Okay. Oh, you know what? I could do it for, you know, 1% plus the 2.5 if we go on to the MLS, so that's 3.5 if I get the buy end as well. So they're throwing these type of terms out at them, and if they're actually got no buy end involved, next thing you know, that's up to 4 to 4.5, just like that. So this big from 1%, whatever, and they've heard from stories at work, somebody getting it for 1%. Good luck. It doesn't happen. You know, by the time you pay brokerages and all your costs associated, nobody can do it for 1%. Right? So I am very upfront. I'll say, you know what, go ahead, get one of them guys to come in. I'm sure if there's a few around that have like a low commission, see what they're all about. You know, because a lot of this is you have to trust the person you're working with. They're on your team so that everybody makes more money. And you could have stories and show them different listings, you know, what happens when they go with some of these discount brokerages compared to a full service brokerage. If you have some examples, it doesn't even have to be for that neighborhood. Keep one of those examples. If you've seen like somebody offering 1% or for sale by owner and they sell something and you know that should have been $100,000 more and the next one sells for $100,000 more, keep those examples. That's stuff that you could at least forward on a PDF to them as to back up the story, how to hold your commission up. But again, don't be as scared of commission. You've got to know what the value is. Yes, Markham, you know, Richmond Hill, some of them are 2.25%. They've been eroding a little bit. Cobourg has been 2% for the last 20 years. A couple of big agents kind of try to buy the market off, brought their commission down. Now, a lot of us outside agents are going in there and we're getting our 5%, our 2.5 each, because we're saying that, you know what, 50% of the buyers are coming from the Toronto market. We're servicing them. We're bringing the buyers with more money out to your area. to attract those agents, you know what, we need to have a good commission for them to drive out here. Right, so what's your story? Why are we going to keep that commission up? So here's, yes, go ahead, yep.
I'm Andy.
Hi, Andy.
I'm Rick.
Yes.
So I'm in commercial, but.
Yep.
Yeah, when they ask, what's the commission?
Yep.
Do you tell them the 5% because you're doing the vote, or you said?
I usually talk about the half. I always talk about the half. So depending, and I usually start with the cooperating brokerage. They have to pay both. Yep, they have to pay both, but I start the conversation and give them a tidbit. You know what? Because sometimes you say 8%, 8%, 4%, 4%, or 8%, you know, whatever, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. They're all mesmerized, and it sounds like a lot of money going out the door. If you say, you know what, you know, with the cooperating brokerage on a commercial, say lease, 4% of the final square footage price will go to the cooperating brokerage. And if they have a second and third and fourth year term, maybe we'll do 1.75. And our brokerage will have a similar commission for all the work that we've got to do for negotiating. So that's how you talk. When you're talking it, when you're in writing and you're putting it down, obviously it's going to have the 8% and then the 4% to the cooperating brokerage. So I've gotten, you know, even on a residential home in Newcastle, it was like 6 years ago, I got 7.5% on the listing. They were desperate. We had the home for 8 months. Neighbor's home was crap. It's like a vandal home, you know, like garage bashed in, boots on the roof, fence knocked over, and this was a cute little house, but had electric heat. And they were cheap because they didn't have a lot of money, so the furnishings weren't the best. And we staged a little bit, but you can only do so much on that home, right? So again, we had a lot of open houses, we had activity, but no deals, no deals. Couldn't reduce the price too much for them because they needed that money, otherwise they go bankrupt. And finally, I said, you know what, the other option, I said, why don't we just put up a real big carrot? Why don't we put 5% to the cooperating brokerage and see what happens? So I signed a new listing agreement. Next day, sold in multiple offers, had 2 offers on the table. Yeah, did we get our 219,000 that we started with? No, we got 192. But that's kind of what it was worth, right? You know, and they were just pipe dreaming and hoping. So again, sold it quickly. So you can use that as a tool. You got a farm property that you know it's going to take a long time to sell, have a good tool. Say, you know what, maybe we'll offer 3 or 4% commission to get these people to drive in from Toronto to have a look at this place. The agents are going to, you know, spend their time because they know they're going to make a little bit of money, and then go from there. Right? Obviously, you're going to hard to sell property. You're going to have a longer listing agreement, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. So I've had a vacant farm property. I had a 1-year listing, still didn't sell it. Got it back again. I got a 6-month listing, right? And still have got it. So I've got probably 70, 80 leads out of there off realtor.ca side calls. I haven't dealt with one of any of them. All my agents got those for free. Did they make anything out of them? It's tough. I mean, this vacant land stuff is not easy. A lot of people dream about things, but then they're not serious. Hard to get financing on vacant land. But again, I was talking about fundamentals don't change in this business. It says here, this is like a 40-year-old book. It says the 1% edge approach to holding or raising your fee. It says this is an effective method with all motivated sellers, but especially with expired listings and properties that have been on the market for a long time. Here's what you say. You have many options as a homeowner to get your property marketed. A very important part of selling your home is motivating the 50,000 agents in the Toronto Real Estate Board to see your home and then interest their buyers in it. In a market such as this, the homeowner suffers and so do agents. As an extra incentive, let's offer this property at a fee that's 1% higher to the selling agent than is customary. So even 40 years ago, they were using that carrot on the cooperating side to add a little bit better meat, because 1%, let's say it's a $900,000 home. 1%, what's that, $9,000? If you can get agents, you get some more activity out of that, and maybe you could get $925,000 because there was some excitement happening because of that. A lot of agents rushed to it. If they saw the 3%, that could work. If it's been on the market a long time and you're trying to get close to the 900, maybe you're trying to get 875, 880 out of it, and it's been stale, maybe having a little better commission wakes up someone and they bring their client out, right? So those are tools that you guys have. So don't be shy when they ask you about commission. Say, yeah, commission, there's a lot of options on commissions. They're negotiable. In life, you get what you pay for. That hasn't changed. That saying's been around for a reason. In life, you do get what you pay for. I've seen it many times where there's a really cheap commission, they get poor marketing, didn't get good exposure, and they sell it. It's like, oh, what the heck? It's not even close to what they should get. And believe me, I've been used where I get out, referral from a good friend, go to their buddy's house, do my spiel, they love me, love me, love me, love me, until you don't hear from them for a week. It's like, kind of suspicious, right? And then you see it by accident, oh my God, 800,000, kind of what I said they should get, and they've used it in the same kind of commission, 2.75, and then they sell it quickly. It's an out of agent, town that it's their buddies. Don't get mad. I talk to my referral client and say, thank you very much for your listing. Looks like your friend went with an out of town agent, must be one of his friends, and hope they sell. If they ever have any ideas or need some help, I'll be happy to help them. Right? Because you got to thank your referral. They gave you an opportunity. It didn't work out. It's not all going to work out. Don't get disgruntled. Come into your neighborhood tonight on the way home and you see a big Remax sign 2 doors down. You should be happy. There's something for sale. Maybe they're going to get a good price. Maybe you could bring a buyer. You have the first opportunity to bring a buyer, a friend, a colleague, relative to go buy that home. You have an opportunity to make money. The reason you didn't get it is because you probably didn't go over there and let them know you were the local realtor. So that could have been 50% of the reason. The other 50% is they know that realtor from Be Fast. They stayed in touch. So don't get sad or disgruntled when you come in your neighborhood and you see that sign right there that's not yours, 2 doors down, right? It's sad when the guy right next to you who's talked to you for 5 years said, oh, you're the best, we're going to go with you and go with you. Next thing you know, it's like, what the heck? Right at home, right beside my house, right? Because they sometimes don't tell you the whole story, why you're not getting things. So that was, again, just to let you know, way back when they were that. The other thing is another broker told me our house was worth, again, back then, the houses were like 150,000. So the house was worth $5,000 more. And you'd say, Mr. and Miss Seller, don't choose a broker based on price, because anyone can buy your listing and give you a price. Doesn't mean that's what it's going to get. It gets back to trust. You got to trust somebody that I'm giving you the right price for the market in today's market, right? And you can give them examples. I had another one. My buddy owns a funeral home. He's got a lot of contacts, and he'll give me some leads. Somebody's going to move into an apartment, and I went to go see them. And again, the market, of course, in April, his home would have sold for $750, and then you get there and you tell him it's probably worth $625, $630. Didn't really quite believe you, and you're kind of giving them more comparables, and they're like 80 years old. They've heard that, and everybody's telling them how nice their house is. It was all dated, and it was really only worth about $625. So I was honest. They didn't want to hear that. My colleague Rosanna went out and showed him some apartments, again, because I don't want to do that crap, showing this. And they liked one, and then they said, oh, I'm not sure, because we can only get 600, maybe we should sell, I'm not sure. They went on vacation, came back, I saw a Remax listing, 749,000. Oh man, I bought the listing, bullshit. And then called them, I said, yeah, he's told us we still get 700. I said, well, that's nice, Antonio, but it's not gonna happen. These are the kind of guys that go in there, they buy it, and they're gonna kind of chew you down until you have to sell, right? And I think it was like a month and a half later, 689 reduced to, and then was again another 20 days, sold 615, all the way from 689. And so it's telling you you were right. How do you get that message across? This thing is telling you, you know what? Don't base your decision solely on what somebody promises, because that promise just got no water to tread on if it's got nothing to back it up. What is backing up that price? Right? It's only going to get sold. You're not playing the lottery where you think you're going to put your home up for a lottery. Right? So these are some of the things you're going to get better at, and you are going to lose some. It's your energy and your enthusiasm to wake up the next day and get back on the horse. Right? So what you've got in your hands and what you're bringing around, sometimes it just brings you more confidence. So when I walk in and I've got that binder and we get to the kitchen table and finally lay it up and they start opening it up, it's like I can see their eyes. Oh, they didn't expect that much. Right? You just called me and I came over at 7:30 and I had this whole binder with all the stuff in there, and you're kind of, after I'd left, oh, you put a lot of work into it and we're not even selling. Right? That's what you're thinking. You put a lot of work into it, we're not even selling. Right? So I have no qualms. I'm leaving it behind. I've got a good reason for the next year or two to prod, to poke, a little card, a little drip email, to ask for referrals, right? And at the very end, if I got the feeling I'm going through the home and they're not quite ready, I'm not sure they're going to get it, I really focus on those 20 business cards at the back and that form. So it brings this conversation up about referrals. Do I get a lot of people to sign that agreement? Probably 50-50. And I tell them, the only reason you're going to sign this referral agreement to give me a testimonial and 5 referrals in the next calendar year is if I did a great job. You love me, you thought I did an awesome job, you have no problems talking to your friends at work or your neighbors. But if I did a crappy job, I lied to you, I didn't do a good job, I'm not going to get no referrals, right? So I have faith in what I'm doing, and I know that after we've sold your home, there's no problem for you to sign the contract. And if you only get 4 referrals, I'm not going to hold you to water. So I'm still happy for all your referrals, right? So it's how you bring the subject up. And if you give yourselves opportunities to kindly open up the door. So at the end, because sometimes you're flipping through and oh, you got a lot of business cards here. I said, well, yeah, because I'm going to leave some behind for you. Because maybe each of you could take maybe 2 to your office and keep some in your desk. And maybe you could keep a couple in the glove compartment of your car. So you have to train them what to do with the tools that you're giving them, right? If you just say, oh, here's some of my cards. If you hear of anybody selling or buying, that'd be awesome. That's like wasting. Might as well throw those cards out, right? Because they get misplaced, whatever. You didn't sow the seeds in their brain properly about what they should open up their brain to listen for, right? If I said, you know what, if your son is ever thinking of getting a condo down the road and maybe going to the University of Toronto and maybe you want to buy it as an investment, maybe you've got some buddies also in the same category, I'd be happy to spend some time and give you some options, right? Because you could always sell it afterwards, after they've left. So I've planted a little bit of a seed, right? And then the next time I'm talking, I might talk about, hey, if you're ever cutting your grass, you're outside, you're seeing your neighbor, and you hear one of them maybe thinking downsizing, it'd be awesome if you could maybe talk to them and pass my name on, or maybe get one of my cards and give it to them. And so I'm teaching you how to get a referral for me. And it's continuous. You know, sometimes say, oh, I get tired of talking. You have to get tired of talking and then go get another job, because 75% of the stuff that comes from referrals are good referrals. That other person's talked about you. They said he's trustworthy, he works hard, he's like a dog with a bone, he never gives up. So if your buddies are talking about you nicely, when you actually call, you've already got a good feeling about me, right? So you're already giving me the benefit of the doubt, a little bit of trust. So I've got only myself to blame if I didn't do a good job at your house, right, when I meet you. So again, is everyone going to be able to master this right away? No, because there's so many. You saw even on like web forms or public records, yours, how many little tools we've got to learn. And then we're talking about CRM systems, client retention management with Smart Studio or Exact, and all those buttons. And we're telling you to be in contact, get all this to do. When are you ever going to have time to go talk to somebody? When are you ever going to go have time to go mail a card? So how many people have mailed a card this week? Last week, probably none. So I use send out cards, so it works out really well. My clients like it. So it just, they're professional, it keeps me on track, so I can get some cards out there. Sometimes I do little campaigns once a year, sometimes anniversary. I never do the birthdays because I'm a guy, but I do anniversaries of the home sold. So if it's sold 2 years ago, I have a 5-year campaign. So after year 1, it reminds me a week ahead of time, oh, first anniversary of your home, hope you've met some new neighbors, blah, blah, blah. One of them I have like the Beverly Hillbillies in there with the carriage trade things. We move coast to coast. If you're thinking of moving or relocating, come and contact me. Something on the Shelter Foundation on another one, right? Picture of raccoon. If you got too many nosy raccoons and neighbors and would like to move, come and call me. So make something a little bit funny so you're noticeable, and don't get too uptight and everything has to be perfect when you're at the person's home, right? So relax, tell a joke or two if it's appropriate, right? And enjoy the outing. Get a chance for a couple hours to meet, learn about somebody else's family, what they're up to. Sometimes after you've left it, glad I'm not them. My life is so much better, right? When you're driving home, think, oh, I'm probably not going to get anything out of them. Those are the ones that are going to call you the next day. Say, ready to list. So, do you think you're going to get a listing? We hope we're going to get a listing. We think we're going to listing presentations. 2/3 of the times we're not. When you really do know you're going to a listing presentation, and you're going to compete against the Remax and the Sotheby's, and you're going to get a $2.3 million carriage trade, do you not do a good job? Don't you spend 2 or 3 days putting stuff together, organizing, researching it, thinking about what you're going to wear? You should be doing that to every single listing or every opportunity. Because what that's doing is you may not get every opportunity, but you're marketing yourself. And if you're opening up the door for a good reason, why you're going to go back there to get a referral, right? So you're not shy. And these guys kind of owe you a little bit subliminally because you've done such a good job and went above that they feel that they'd like to get you a referral. So I got a neighbor behind me. She's awesome, been retired. I could tell she's a busybody and wants to still be doing things. She's who I instigated as my ringleader for the neighborhood. She walks all the way around the block, knocks on the door. Rick, neighbor next door, down the street. Her son's going out to college and she's going to be moving next year. You got to go talk to her. You don't think I go over there in the next day or two with something and go talk to them, right? So that lady phones me, she emails me. A lot, she'll come and knock on my door because she wants to know that she's in the game, right? So try to get some what they call super fan club members on board that love you, that they want to help you, and then give them the tools to what to go look for. Give them the business cards or give them a postcard or something that they can use or an email they can forward to their friends, some pre-construction stuff. So you can get a lot of business in this business if you focus properly and you're confident in yourself. And it's hard at the beginning. You're going to get run over a bit. You're going to lose stuff. You're going to be pissed off with the whole world because last 3 things in a row you lost. I cut my teeth when I started. I've only been doing this since 2010. So 2010, I've already done over $80 million in business. So I started by for sale by owners. It was January 2nd, January 3rd. I didn't even know what I was doing. Didn't even sign in Trev hardly. Didn't even have a business card. I already knocked on some for sale by owners. Didn't call them, I just knocked on their doors. I saw their list, property guys. I just went and knocked on their doors. Said, hello, I'm Rick from One Page, local agent. Just wondered how things were going with your sale. Half the times I didn't even know what the price was because I didn't look it up properly. I just went out there and was confident and nice and said, you know what, if you got a time, would it be okay if I came through for a quick little tour in case I have a buyer, right? Did I get any of those listings? No. First 40 I didn't get in, none. But I tracked them and I saw how they got converted and a Remax guy got it, another guy got it. So like 80% of them went to a realtor, right? So I got to figure, okay, what am I doing wrong? What do I get better? A lot of this was still a little naive. I didn't really know what I was doing a lot. I got better. I had things left behind better. My follow-up was a bit better. My little touches. Next thing you know, the next year I had 3 for sale by owners, 2 property guys, and one of those little, dollar store signs that actually believed me, and I sold their homes. And one of them has been really good. I mean, I just sold a $30 million farm, and that was from a client I met at an open house. That was a young couple, and I was nice to them. Followed up repetitively, and their parents were selling their farm, and they asked me if I could help them. I knew nothing about selling commercial farms to developers, but I brought a colleague in, we shared it, and we each made a nice commission. And now I've got my second farm on the go. So a lot of these things, did I plan on doing that? No. But because they trusted me, that friend trusted me, because they were hounded for 10 years by real estate agents, builders, investors, and the parents, farmers, they just kicked everyone away. They didn't want to hear nothing, don't trust nobody. And the son asked if I'd like to sit in, and they trusted us. We went with our marketing plan, and we got them a real good price, and they're all happy. We bought them another farm for $4.5 million. So, and again, they want to buy 2 or 3 more farms. Did I think I was going to get in the farm category? No. But it was an opportunity. The guy trusted me, and I brought in a colleague that was experienced. So if somebody says, hey, you know what, I'd like to, buy an apartment with, 6 or 12 units, you could be a first-year student of this business, and you could still service them if you took a colleague. Find one of your commercial, like Andy, a commercial agent that's been doing it for a while, and pair up with them, and you can service your client, and Andy can do a lot of the specialty work, and you're both working together to make a little bit of money each, right? And that's how it evolves. So again, that's where it gets back to cooperation and colleagues, and that's why coming to the office, not regularly, but at least twice a week for a couple hours, coming to your office, sitting at one of the cubicles or whatever, working on whatever you got to work on, your database, but you're seeing some of your colleagues. They know you're alive, right? In case they've got an extra lease. Maybe they went to an open house and they got these 5 extra buyers and they're going on vacation and they're looking around for anyone that's walking or, oh, maybe that lady will help me with those buyers. So coming to the office, yeah, is it fruitful all the time? No, but your colleagues get to see that you're alive, you're actually a real person, and you can get some internal referrals. So we do a lot of that at our brokerage, a lot of internal referrals in between each other. Yeah. So I call them pairings, where you're gonna pair up with earthquake. Did you hear something?
No, the building's shaking.
Oh, does
At
it?
first I thought it was just me.
I didn't feel nothing. I didn't feel nothing. I was talking too much.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so getting so I'm almost going to wrap it up. We'll ask a few questions if needed, but you know what, referrals. So I'm out on the East End at Ajax, you know, it's way on the East End. If any of you guys in your business goings have a client that wants to move to Belleville, Brighton, Coburg, Port Hope, you don't want to deal with them, it's too far of a distance, you don't know the market, call me, I'll hook you up with one of our agents. I got 3 agents that live in Coburg and come to my brokerage in Ajax. I got one that lives in Port Hope. They come to here. I've got some in Port Perry. They come to Ajax. So I've got good agents that I can kind of farm out to, where you don't have to go to another brokerage and you don't know them. So again, I'm trying to, you know, hedge, optimize time. Always ask for referrals, some way, somehow, nicely. Doesn't look offensive. I don't care if you go to your buddy's barbecue 5 times and he knows the whole spiel. Just say, you know what, I got new photos, I got new cards. I need you switcheroo. Need you to replenish your card stock. Hopefully you can take a couple, put them in your golf bag. So make a little bit of fun out of the tools that you're giving them, right? And enjoy what you're doing. If it's a challenge, every day is a challenge. Yeah, this is a challenging business. You know, how are you going to get a listing appointment by the end of the week? So that's the challenge to all of you. There's like about 25 of us here today. Could we get 25 listing appointments or supposedly evaluation appointments? How could you do that? You could call your database, ask them if they had their home evaluated in the last few years. You know, the market has changed, and you know what? Especially if they're in a condo or townhomes, those prices have gone up. The detached have come down a little bit, but you never know where they are just by asking the question. Oh, I'm glad you called. We were just thinking about that, of, you know, maybe downsizing, moving out to Port Hope. So you just never know what the response is going to be. If you don't call, you don't ask, you get nothing. All they can say is, oh man, Rick, you're bugging me again. But I never bug. I kind of make it funny. We laugh a little bit. We catch up a bit, right? So try to balance in, you know, with your, how many here have used the Brian Buffini system, A, B's, and C's? Does anyone use that for your clients? That's the only way I look at my clients. My clients, my friends, A, B's, and C's. So I mean, A is a client that will give me 3 to 4 referrals a year. Right now, I personally have 4 A clients. I know that they'll give me 3 to 4 referrals this year. B clients, I have 14. These people will give me 1 referral this year. I know they will. I'll ask them, they'll give them to me. Historically, they've always done that. And C clients, I have, I think, 47. People still love me. They're my clients, my friends. They'll use me. Will they recommend me? Maybe. We'll see, come saw. I'm not sure. They're more invested in their own business, their own lives, their own things, busy. They may not have the time for me at this point. So I don't think they feel the love as much as I do. So that's about my clientele base. I have about 60 people in my base. That's it. You don't need to have 2,000. And then you don't even know who they are. You met them some open house. Yeah, they might be a D client. You might have a few of those. They just get drip emails, maybe 1 phone call a year.
Do you pay a referral fee?
But do I pay a referral fee? Yeah, if another agent wants to work with me.
No.
Client. No, clients can never get referral fee. That's called a bird dog fee. It's against the rules. So
I don't care about the rules. The client doesn't care about rules.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, the rules is for trip, but it's not for revenue.
What?
A lot of agents that.
If you want to be an agent, it's for Real Estate Council of Ontario, which is the.
No, I don't pay at all, but I know a lot of my colleagues, they pay referral fee.
Well, they can.
It's not 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 20,000.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say, do you pay?
I pay occasionally if I think it's appropriate. If they ask me and it's only about the money, I don't do it at all for principal.
How you encourage them to refer you?
Because they know when it's their turn to get my services, they're going to get great service, and they believe in me. It's like when you have a good plumber comes to your house. Let's say, okay, good plumber comes to your house. You call emergency, did a great job, he was fair, charged you a little bit, great plumber, awesome. And then let's say 2 weeks later, you're playing baseball with buddies. And one guy goes, oh crap, my toilet's gone, this. Have you got, anyone got a good plumber? You go, I got a great guy.
Of course, this is different, but
No,
now
hey, no, let's
we have
not,
a lot
no,
of
no,
agents.
no, let's not
Each
different.
family, they have at least one agent in the family.
No, they don't, they
Yeah,
don't.
so-
So you've already made assumptions, they don't. Not every family has one agent in the family, not at all. There are,
Or is it two maybe?
okay, there is some. No, I just want to tell you, you're pigeonholing, you're already narrowing your scope. You're looking behind you, you're thinking about what they do. If you're a good person, and then what my friends talk about me, and this conversation comes up, hey, you know a good realtor? Many of them say, oh, that Rick guy, he's awesome. He'll work hard, he'll take pride in what he does, he comes on time, he says what he wants. Do I have to pay them? No, but I'll give them, if they've referred me, and I get a deal, I'll give them a $100 gift card to the Keg as a thank you. Nice. Thank you for referring me. Oh, Rick, you didn't have to do that. I know I don't have to do it, but I appreciate you thinking about me. They give me a lead and it didn't work out. I go there, it was a bunch of crap. I'll send them a $25 Starbucks or Tim Hortons card and say, you know what, when you're at the drive-through the next little while, please think about me. Please keep getting the referrals coming. I really appreciate it. Okay, so those are people like that. I have a good client and by a windfall, I'm making a lot of money and I think they could use some of it. I have a young couple going to find a condo, and then all of a sudden they decide to go to pre-construction, and I'm going to make 28,000 rather than say the 15,000 I would have made. I know they could use it. Hey, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go visit them and give them a couple $1,000 cash, 3,000 cash on closing, and say, you know, guys, it was so appreciative for you working on this. It was a little bit unexpected windfall. You guys got a great place. Hope this helps out, and you can meet some new people on the floor and get some referrals going. That's great. So do I have done that many times in my career? No, maybe like twice. I don't have to pay other people to refer me. I'm good at what I do. People are proud to use my name. And when it's your turn, like you gave me 2 or 3 leads, I helped your buddies. Now it's your turn. You wanna sell something, you wanna buy some, yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. You're my pal. So maybe I'm gonna give you $3,000 or $4,000 if I make $20,000. Cash, no tax, no nothing. Right, that's my agent's profit at the end. I paid tax on, I'm going to give you a little bit. So that could be one way, right? Because that's a thank you to a client. That's acceptable, right? So if my friend, if I see if my friend around the corner, if I said to her, you know what, if I get a deal, I'm going to give you $10,000 or $5,000 if you give me the leads. They're not a realtor. That's a bird dog fee. If that ever gets out, you could get in big trouble. You could lose your license and get fined, $20,000, $30,000. So you gotta be careful on that. You can give thank yous to them later because you're a friend. They're your friend. You give them a $100 gift card to the Keg as a thank you because it was Christmas or your birthdays. Not thank you because of the real estate lead, right? So you don't want to publicize to the general population that you're going to give them money if they give you a referral. You can give them money if they're going to back or a prize or a trip, if they're going to list with you and they become your client. So once they're your client, you can give them gifts or money back. So you can do a refund too on your sale and it could be issued by the brokerage, but then they would have to get a T4 tax. That client, if you give them like a rebate afterwards off the commission, it comes off the brokerage so that you don't have to pay tax on it. The client has to get a T4 from the brokerage and they pay tax. Most of the clients, they don't want that. They just want a little bit of something back in their pocket afterwards. So you can do a bit of that. If a lot of your business is like that.
A lot of agents just have advertising.
Yep.
I can receive some
Yep.
letter from the other agent
Yep.
in my house by
Yep.
Canada Post.
Yeah,
That give it referral 10% cash.
not a referral. If it says referral 10% cash, that's a bird dog fee. You could report them to RICO. That's a bird dog fee. If they said 10% cash back if you sell with me, so it's different. The words have to be important.
I like that idea, 10%.
Sure, that's
cash.
acceptable. That guy's trying to buy the business. He's trying to buy the business. They're trying to buy the business, and most people, 80%, they don't fall for that kind of stuff. They don't need that. They want somebody they trust, somebody that's going to do the job. So 80%. You're focusing on 10 to 20% of the people that only talk about commission, only talk about rebate. And if you start thinking about it, I've got 2 or 3 agents. That's all they say, Rick, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, doing 1%, they're doing that 10%, cash back. That's all they talk about. That's all I hear. What do you think is going to get attracted to those kind of people? That same kind of people always gets attracted to them. I go out there, I hardly hear it at all. I hear like maybe once, oh, you're thinking, get some cash back. I said, well, some agents do that, but that's if they do 3 or 4 deals. And, we're just doing the sale of the home, so that's not really applicable. Right, so you could have like a counter. You should have a counter measure to those. And are you going to get all of them? No. No, remember, it's 1 in 4. You're going to actually get 1 in 4 opportunities. So I give you a lead online, you go see him, bunch of bullshit, didn't work out. Now you have, hopefully out of the next 3, you might get 1. Your neighbor says he's going to go sell, you go over and talk to them, you give them a nice binder, you spend 2 hours with them, and before you know it, you see a Remax sign on there from a guy from Mississauga. He took your information, went with his neighbor. Boom, went to the next appointment, boom, the guy loves you, he's your paisan, he wants to sell with you, you got your lawn sign on there. The next one you might not get at all. So if you can have that kind of feeling that, I'm going to get 1 in 4 on a lot of the randoms, hopefully when I get the good leads from my database that are referring me, that I can maybe get 60 or 70% of those, right? So that's going to increase my odds, right? So the more you can optimize your energy and the leads you're creating to warm leads, the better your chances. The more it's just mass out there, you met somebody from an open house, you don't know if they want to use you and then go with the listing broker, you don't know. Because you might be filling in for a colleague and then they go to the other agent. So you might have lost that one. Right? So you can see, you don't know what you're getting into a lot of times. And then sometimes people think, oh, the time to do that, and then like $20 to put a binder together, going to leave it, oh, they're going to use it. That's the attitude you have. You're never going to do anything properly, right? You're always going to be reserved. You're going to hold it. Oh, you can't have it. Right? I'm going to take it with me if you want it. They have so much access to that, and it's going to keep evolving. That information is not being used in what they want you. It's because they trust you. And they trust you because you are timely. You respect them. You brought them information. You overwhelm them with good service. And they want to then work with you because they trust you. So 80% of the business comes from trust. So it does. And if you believe that, in your heart, that's why you're out there, then you're going to get a larger proportion than when you don't. Right? When you go in a negative attitude, and a lot of times what happens is you're tired. You're a little bit quickly, you got to put something together, you weren't prepared, and you're nervous, and you're going there, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to go there, do all this, you're going to ask them about commission, you're going to go with their buddy. So you're already kind of like in a slumpy attitude, right? But you got to go in there fresh, perky, you got to believe in the product. I mean, I worked in garden centers for 30 years. Believe me, you don't think I had people trying to ask for deals and discounts and this and that. And at the end of the day, when I went home and I serviced people and they were happy, most of those became my real estate clients down the road because they liked that service. It was good attitude. You accommodated them. Sometimes you gave a little bit, sometimes you didn't. So you can't always have it your way, one way, or another way, and expect that to happen. There's going to be flexibility. If you get too negative and you're attracted to some kind of bad energy people and bad energy clients, you've got to get out of that pool and slowly try to get into better types of clients. Where are you going to meet them? Maybe taking better open houses for your colleagues. So if your colleagues have open houses and you're in the $600,000-$700,000 range, where your vision is, like $1 million, $2 million, $4 million kind of range, that's my comfort zone. How are you going to get those listings? Are you going to market in that area? Are you going to farm? Are you going to do some open houses for colleagues in that area to try to get to those type of homes? Right. So those are the kind of things you have to adjust. I was in Oshawa. Oshawa way back when, it was 200,000, 225,000 was the average, and I did most of my business in Pickering, where the garden center was. That's where my clients were, and they were like for 500, almost double the price. So I made more money by working in the Pickering area than I did where I lived. So again, manipulating your, and that doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it's a 2 or 3 year plan. So anyways, it's about 5 to 3. We've got a few more minutes. Any other questions while you got me? One at the back.
So I have a question.
Yep.
I'm getting the listing.
Yep.
I'm trying to get a listing.
Right.
So I'm at usually an event and I'm having a table. I've done them private.
Like a realtor day at a bank or something, or? Yep.
This one's a church function.
Mm-hmm.
This day,
Mm-hmm.
church. But
Yep.
I've done quite a few where people around me that are selling products.
Yep. Yeah,
If
you're
you
welcome.
drive and then I'm selling a service.
Right.
I have everything up that says house, and they
Yep.
say, what are you selling? And I thought.
I'm selling my,
Maybe I don't have it really.
we haven't
laid out
got
properly.
cookies to sell shaped like houses.
No. But I do have other things that
Yep.
basically say home, and I
Yep.
have like sign up here, and
Yep, yep.
I'm thinking, are there other things that I should be doing? Because this weekend I'm going
Yep.
to be trying to get.
Yep.
I do have giveaways.
Right.
So that they enter a draw and they have.
Oh, right, yeah,
That-
exactly.
that I
So they do that at the bank days. Sometimes we'll have like a lucky, called lucky draw. And they give a ballot to do. Lucky draw is a reason for them to stop at the booth and talk to you. You say, I'm not really selling anything other than myself. Myself meaning that when it's time for you to sell your home or buy, I'm your go-to girl. I'm trustworthy, I work hard, I'll do a great job. And if you want to take a couple of my cards, they're free. And maybe you could find some referrals for me. You have to have a funny twist on it. I think you have a person with a sense of humor. Yes, you got to utilize that on a function like that. So you have to adapt it to the function you have. If you're a realtor day at the bank, it's a little more formal, it's money. At church, you can be a little bit more looser and a little more funnier. Bring God in the picture once in a while. God.
I have the ready to give away, and I'm
Yep.
like, I don't always remember, I think I'm always giving away.
Yeah, you need a sign that says, God bless this beautiful home or whatever. That's your giveaway grapple.
So I actually do.
Oh, do?
Have those.
Oh, okay.
Where
Yeah,
I went
yeah.
and found them.
Yep,
They
yep.
were really nice to
Or-
frame.
Yeah, okay.
They all loved them. I have no
Great.
idea where they came from.
Awesome,
And
awesome.
they all had that home and
What?
blessed.
Yes.
But I don't know, within my, but I
Yeah.
wasn't still getting that.
No, when you're doing events like that, I don't assume that I'm going to get a deal right out of that. I'm building my name, getting my name out there so they know who I am. What was that lady's name again at that church bazaar that had, houses, right? And they're going to ask a friend, and they say, oh, her name was Ellen or whatever. So you're at some of these functions, you're only there for a few hours, doesn't cost you a lot, and you're building some reputation. And don't expect to get the quick results out of those type of events. But sometimes it comes back a year or two later.
Get the guests that you're inviting to come in.
Right, exactly. That's kind of like the little community things where you're saying, you know what, I'm your go-to girl if you need some pricing. If you wanted up-to-date evaluation, give me a call. I'm your go-to girl, your local realtor. So, you have to have a little catchphrase that they'll remember. So again, if you're a girl of action, then you got to be the action girl, and you got to back that up, right? So you call them properly, you text them properly, and then when the friend calls them, they're going to pass your name on because they were impressed that how good of a follow-up you did, and they liked your demeanor because it was comfortable. It wasn't too stoic and stuffy, and it was friendly. It was inviting because it's still a very stressful time for a lot of people. It's not so much about the money. The money will follow. Believe me, money follows. If you're only in it for money commission, it's only about money. Man, it's going to be a tough slog. This is not an easy business. If you're in it to really help somebody, you came in, you wanted to help, and I said, yeah, I'll be over. And so I have some of my agents, and they get a flooding, they're calling me. I go to their house, 20 minutes, looking at their house, telling me the idea, maybe you can phone this person. I mean, that's a service because, it's honestly and genuine that I would like it when somebody helps me out. So when my neighbor comes over and bandages my daughter's, operation leg, it's because I helped shovel their snow, so it's give and take. Right, and that plays a lot in this world. And the more you get into numbers, computers, and you get brainwashed by all these online leads, and you get sucked into half your energy is sucked into that. Well, that half of energy, if that would have been out and you would maybe had one lunch each week with a friend, take them out for lunch, cost you, $25, $30 to go out for lunch and smoosh for like an hour and a half and talk and just catch up, and then maybe they know you're in real estate, and the conversation comes up. Maybe the first time you don't talk much of real estate unless they ask. Maybe the second time, maybe a year later, and you take them out for lunch again. It's a little bit more real estate related. And so I do that. My repertoire is I do these, if I'm driving by and I'm in a neighborhood and I know my buddy lives over there, I will just stop by and knock on the door. And sometimes I do, and it's a lady, oh, they're in their coach, my house is not ready yet, so not a problem. I'll come back another day, when it won't be a surprise attack this time. Right? So it's a matter of just being genuine. So I was in the area, I had a little extra time. We haven't caught up in the last 6 months. I thought I'd pop by and say hello. And then be prepared to have, like a half an hour of your time go to catch up. Right? So that might be do you do that every day, all the time? No, that might be once a week or every second week. You do one of those, you budget. But it's got to go in the daytime, so you're thinking about it. Hey, you know what? this week, if I get a chance, I'm gonna stop by Sophie's house, say hello, right? Because it was $1 million home, been there 5 years, wonder maybe she's ready to change, maybe she's met somebody and wants to move on. And you're sure you've emailed them and you dripped them, but sometimes you haven't talked in person and seen what they've done to their home, right? They're proud of their upgrades, or maybe they're not proud of, they want to move out of there. So opportunities. So you gotta make yourself opportunities by in your day. I'm still old school. I got a daytimer. I got the not Samsung, but I put the little calendar in and I got my little prompts. I have my daytimer, so I know what I'm gonna do for the next week. If I'm recruiting agents and I'm trying to do stuff, I can get pulled off tangent very quickly. So I'll put in twice a week or 3 times for like an hour, where you have to concentrate, think about what I'm going to send, and maybe call a few people, and put some of that into my daytime. That's no different than you guys going out prospecting, right? You got to put that prospecting in. What are you going to prospect for this week? It's a nice week. The weather's changing. People are going to be outside more. Yeah, if you're not really into it, maybe a couple of colleagues hook up and they go walk a couple of streets. They do maybe that once every couple of weeks for a couple hours. It's not a lot of time. You never know what that creates, right? You never know what that creates in terms of opportunities. It's not a lot of time. I wouldn't recommend going down there in 25 hours a week doing that, where and the opportunities are low. So it's a hit and miss. But I've seen many agents get stuff come back and say, oh, I got 3 leads. I'm going to go on 2 CMAs, right? Doing on a door knocking when the weather changes. So that's a small opportunity, and you have to have the right frame of mind, because if you think, oh, I'm like a paper boy, I'm like begging, going door to door, I'm a used car salesman going door to door. No, then you're on the wrong frame of mind. You have to be peppy and say, you know what, I'm going to go for a couple hours of exercise. It's a nice day. I'm going to meet a few people, catch up with some of the neighbors that's in the area, let them know that I'm the local realtor, right? If you have the right attitude and you go out for a couple hours and you think, well, as I'm going, maybe I'll check out the gardens, so maybe I can see some ideas for my own gardens, or I'm going to snoop and check out the garage door to see if there's a cute garage door because I might need a garage door coming up. So you have to have your own right frame of mind to create that project and then follow through. And can you stay up and be active like that all the time? No. We have our depressed moments and we get sad and things happen at home. And then for a day or two, you're slogging, you're just kind of doing stuff. You're snooping on the MLS and you're thinking about adding a couple of database and you're just kind of killing time. But you have to then kind of wake up and say, okay, yeah, what am I doing for the rest of the week that's productive, right? So that's the hard part. And if it was easy, everybody would be making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. But they're not. You get a lot of agents doing 1 or 2 deals a year, just barely hanging on, hoping that they learn the technique so in 3 years they can do their 12, 14, 16 deals a year and make their 200,000. So you should be able to do that after your 3rd year. The first 2 years are tough, foundation building, and then 3rd year comes up. By 4th, 5th year should be exponential growth. So yes. Yep.
When you're doing prospecting,
yep.
What do you suggest? I mean,
yep.
Going door knocking, pleasant and friendly.
Yep.
Should you have okay?
Yep.
Obviously, you got your cards with you.
Yep.
Should we also have it?
Door hanger. Usually a door hanger in case they're not there, because
something a little bit
yep.
more substantial.
So here's with me, and I'm an agent now, and that's going to do it. I wouldn't just do random door knocking or farming. I'm going to do what they call 10-10-20 on a just listed or just sold. So down the street, I see a home life sign down there just came up. Thinking, okay, I'm going to go home and research it a little bit, just to kind of know what the values are. Have my door hangers, as I'm your local realtor. Sorry I missed you. Have my cards in my pocket, and I'm going to knock on 20 doors across the street, come over, do 10 doors, miss that house, and do the next 10 doors. Just say it's Rick from Royal LePage. I don't know if you noticed, but one of your neighbors down the street has just put up a for sale sign. So we're going to get lots of activity in this neighborhood. It's awesome. Most people don't want to move because this is so good. I don't sell pine boxes because most people aren't going to leave unless they're in a pine box. But, if you're thinking of making a move in the next little while, I'll be happy to spend some time evaluating your home. So did I have that scripted? No, I just kind of make it up. I go to the next house, it's kind of the same. Starts off with, hey, it's Rick from Royal LePage. I don't know if you noticed, but one of your neighbors down the road has just put up a for sale sign. We're going to get some increased activity onto the street because this is such a great street. Wondered if you guys thought of making a transition, or if you knew anybody else in the neighborhood maybe making a move. Sometimes they'll say, no, but that lady over there, I think her husband died. And, so
door hangers.
Door hangers, because let's say I did 40. Yeah. What time's good? What day is good? Any day is good. As soon as you start to try to pigeonhole what's the best time, you never get to it. There's always something else comes in the way. Pick a time, go do it. Out of the 40 homes, you'll actually probably talk to 8 people. That's just the odds. I mean, you're gonna talk to 8 people. You might see one person on the sidewalk or on the street walking a dog. Hey, they know a lot of people. Always stop and talk to that dog walker. I don't care if they're peeing on your leg. It's like, okay, anyone else in the neighborhood here that's thinking of selling? Give her some cards. So have some fun when you're out there, that you're the local realtor. That's a good reason in your neighborhood. You are truly the local realtor, right? You might not have a lot of signs up yet, but you know what you say, we work with Royal LePage, one of the biggest brands in Canada. Got a great team behind us, which you do. You have your front desk team, you got your manager team, you've got your marketing team. So speaking of marketing, a guy like Jimmy and his team up here, you guys are lucky compared to a lot of brokers don't have that. You can utilize services. He deals with a lot of big agents in here. He knows a lot of things that they've done. So you can tweak and ask them to kind of formulate whether it's a door hanger or something for yourselves. That's not a big expense. So you see what happens in the next little while with our mastermind, what Michelle's going to come up with for our own listing presentations and pre-listing presentations. So again, if you wanted to take the cat out of the bag and be really aggressive, you knew you were going to go against the Sotheby's and a RE/MAX carriage trade. Yeah, if you can get the email address early from your client, you could send them like a pre-listing, maybe 12-page PDF. Talks a little bit of Royal LePage, a little bit of Royal LePage your community, a little bit about yourself, 1 page each, and then a little bit about their market, maybe, you know, so that you know that you're targeting your market. And, you know, questions that you might ask me when we see you on Thursday, right? So you give them a list of questions that they might want to think about, right? So that you're actually doing a little soft warming. You email to them, so look forward to seeing you Thursday at 8 o'clock. Here's a little bit of a synopsis about the company and myself, and maybe a few questions that I can plant the seeds. Look forward to seeing you and your wife on Thursday. Cheers. So those are the kind of things we get better at. Cards, little cards to write. I always did on Mondays just a note card, simple, just a note card. I do an open house, do it for my colleagues a lot when I started. You know what, you get like maybe 4 good leads. And I was taught, because I didn't do it the first time, I got whipped by the, did you call them last night at 7 o'clock? I said, no, was I supposed to? I collected your signs. I'm giving you your open house signs back. Oh no, you're supposed to call them at 7 o'clock. I said, okay. So the next open house I did Saturday, I had, I think like 18 people through. I think just like 4 or 5 that didn't have realtors, that had phone numbers. So I called them like 7:15. Hey, it's Rick from Royal LePage. Just following up. We met at the open house at 123 Warwick Drive. I don't know if you remember me. I gave you that extra little booklet. I know you're probably out to some other open houses today. The other homes that I gave you, any interest in maybe having a look at them on a special appointment? So you're just kind of sowing the seeds. The home that we were at, I think it might be something you'd like a special appointment that I could coordinate one-on-one. Right? So you've got a reason for calling. Sometimes you think that you're bugging them because they had a busy day and they had their kids. Yeah, if you put your own life into everything you do, you're not going to do much. Because we don't like to get bugged, but if you don't think that you're bugging, you're giving them a service and you're being nice to them, just as a little remembrance. And then on Monday, I would then take just a note card, right? Hey, it's Rick from Royal LePage. It was nice touching base on Saturday at Berwick. I've got your information and started a VIP search online. We'll keep you up to date. But here's 5 business cards. Maybe you could take a couple to work. That'd be awesome if you know anybody else thinking of buying or selling. You mail it to their house, right? So that takes a good half an hour of your time. You'll look up, get their address properly, something you have to go to your warehouse, you write it up on the envelope, you write a little thing on the card, stick 5 cards in, you have to go find some stamps, you have to go mail it. So that takes time. So that means, what does that mean? That means other agents don't do it that much. Okay, so if other agents don't do that much, that means, are they doing it that much because they don't get results or because it takes too much time? A lot of it's because it takes too much time. And they think they don't get the results, but you get the results subliminally, that they appreciate that, they remember you because of that. So that's, again, if I was going to do prospecting, I would look for just listed, just sold, do a 10, 10, 20, so you can say to yourself, okay, I can do a half an hour research, and I can maybe go out there for an hour and a half. I could do that maybe once a week. That's not a big part of my time. It's like a commando, hit and run raids. That's what you're doing. So command, if you think about it like that, it's fun. Hit and run, I'll do one next week.
next week I go to another area, next week I go to another area, right? Obviously with a combination of some smaller detached and townhomes, got higher turnover, those are the better ones you can optimize your time better. Obviously the beautiful neighborhoods, you got large lawns and walk forever to get to their front door, walk back down the street and whatever, it takes a long time. These are established neighborhoods that don't turn over that much. This is probably their 5th home. They might have had 4 or 5 realtors in their life. Your odds are very poor. Even though you're dreaming of getting into the $3-4 million marks, your odds are poor. So if we're trying to get a little bit of like we call cash flow candy business, go to the townhomes / small 3-bedroom homes where there's a little bit more turmoil in life. People have got a hard time even affording them, or maybe they want to upgrade up. There's more turnover. You got better chances, right? And sometimes they haven't had as many realtors in their lives, so you got a better opportunity. If they connect with you, they like your personality, right? And then you get good follow-up. Yes.
How do you find their address? You just type their name in on?
Well, you could do 411 reverse search. You could put if you have their name, you could try it into Geo Warehouse.
Okay.
You got 1,000, I think, free hits. So you're not going to use up a lot, but the times you need to search it, you can go into the name, Geo Warehouse. You can maybe try with Toronto or York or Durham, wherever they live. So sometimes you can snoop and find out what other properties they have, using the Geo Warehouse. So you got to use your yeah, it's a secret spy technique. So again, suites, I call it sweet spot marketing, or like a 10-10-20, do that. Open houses for colleagues. If you want to do open houses for colleagues, you're working with big brokerage here with a lot of successful agents. The more successful they are, the less they want to do open houses on weekends because they want to have some quality time at home. They work hard 5-6 days a week. They don't want to do the open houses like they did when they were younger. So there's more opportunities. So you have to kind of do some pairing with them, do a bit of favors, maybe sit in, and then you're going to start to get your buyers from the open houses. So maybe on your prospecting agenda, maybe every second week, do an open house. That's 24 open houses. You do 24 open houses, you do them as a business and do professionally, you should get six deals, just like that. 25% on the open houses. If you do them, every 4th open house, you should get 1 deal if you do them professionally. You take them early enough in the week so that you can get them onto realtor.ca from the other agent. You put the rider up properly. You get a postcard made by Jimmy, and you walk the neighborhood. You give out 100 of them with a special invitation for the Saturday at 1 o'clock. Come on early, come and see. I'd be happy to meet you. You chat and talk to them. So that takes 2 or 3 hours with 100 of them, and talking to a few people. Right? If they're not there, you leave the postcard at the door hanger inviting them. So you're doing that. Social media, you're putting out, inviting all your friends. They think you got another new listing. It's just your colleagues' listing, and you're inviting them or some of their friends to an open house. Right? You invest in the open house road signs and even some extra little push-in ones. Make sure you got 15, 20 altogether. Put them everywhere. It takes time again. It takes time, but it's exposure, and people remember it. And next thing you know, you get another opportunity. Like, oh, she does a lot. She's everywhere, right? So again, then when you're at the open house, be timely, punctual, set it up nicely, be cordial. You have the proper sign-in sheets, right? Is it one separate sheet, or is this all everybody on one mass? How do you get their sign-up? Get good at that. Get good at getting their sign-up. Maybe there's a lucky draw for a Visa card that the mortgage broker that's coming with you is going to pay for, right? So get good at doing an open house. Treat it like a business, and you will get business. Treat it like an afterthought. Oh, I think I got to do an open house. Like I said, prospect open houses. So you're there, you're dragging your butt, hardly put the signs up, you got 3, 2 are blown down, right? You hardly have any sheets. You're not going to get much business from that. Just your whole attitude is not right, your body language. Right? You have good energy, you greet them nice. Hey, thanks for coming to 124 Berwick. Happy to have you here. We've got a sign-up sheet here at the kitchen table. When you get a chance, if you could fill it out fully, that'd be great. I've got a feature sheet for you. If any questions, I'll be happy to take you on your tour if you'd like. So you're going to get better at those little spiels. First time, yeah, believe me, you're stumbling. When I went to those for sale by owners, I would get my car and say, oh, that was fucking stupid. That's what you're saying. You're saying that to yourself, as you're driving. I think, oh, I would do better next time. What should I say? Right? So if you do a couple more of them, it gets better and better. If there's 2 or 3 ladies or guys that do great open houses in this company that get 20 to 25% of their business, ask them if you can shadow them for one open house. You're not going to get anything. You're going to learn. And then maybe they like you, they like your personality, and maybe you're gonna be one of the girls or guys that maybe they're gonna give some open houses going forward to, right? So, but you might learn their technique, right, and how they handle people. Problem is not giving up afterwards. People, what is your nurturing afterwards? You met these people, you've spent this time, this effort to get them, they sign up, and you didn't even do a good job looking at the sign-up sheets, and okay, you got some stuff to work with, and what are you doing with that? Do they go on a CRM system right at 7 o'clock at night after the phone calls? So me, phone calls, I get onto my computer, do a prospect search, set them as contacts, I go into my Roll Page Smart Studio, put them in a CRM, get them on Client for Life drip campaign, get it started, right? And then I've got a note for Monday to contact them through just a note card, and then a note maybe a week later as a phone call to follow up if I could find their phone. If I can't find it and I know where their address is, I might knock on their door. Hey, I was in the area, we touched base at the open house. I'm not trying to creep you or anything, but where are you thinking of moving next? So those are all opportunities. What is your game plan? Each one of them can be different, but what is your little schedule for each open house? What is your schedule for prospecting? What are the things that you feel comfortable in? Because if you do stuff that you're not comfortable in, it's not going to be good. You're not going to have the right attitude. People can feel that, right? So you got to be open, receptive, energetic. I remember I was on tour, an agent tour once. I was in the back seat, a couple ladies driving, another lady beside me. She was bitching, lost that listing last night, that Sean Lepp guy. He was so energetic, she loved him and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I can tell because I didn't say anything, but because she's always a little bit sour and a little bit too, not feeling like everything's going to go good always. I don't know what the name of that term is, but I can tell people don't like that energy of her, right? So having good energy, believing in the product. I was telling the garden center, if you believe in what you're selling, then you will sell more of it. If you believe that quality sells and quality service sells, you don't have to discount quality. So when you have very good bananas and whatever, you get full price. As soon as they're rotten, you have to discount them, right? Do you want to discount your service right away? Hopefully you're good bananas, and you're going to have pride in what you do. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to need my binders back. So you collected a couple. I hope you all learned a few things.